All right, I've got some new tour dates to tell you about. We've added a second show in Belfast over in the United Kingdom on June 6th. Tickets are available now for that show. And we're going to do more shows in Europe or white Europe. And we just haven't had the chance to get them on. So it'll happen in the future. This is just a brief time that we're visiting over there. As well, we have shows in Boise, Idaho, Western Valley City, Utah, Dublin, Manchester, London, Las Vegas, Halifax, and Vancouver. I think we're going to add a St. George as well, Utah. All those are at theovon.com/TOUR. And if tickets, if it's sold out and you're getting something on a secondary market, don't overpay for tickets. We'll come back through another time, and I appreciate the support. Today's episode is our 500th episode, and that's unbelievable to me. And I'm just so grateful that we have been able to keep doing this. So thank you for showing up for us and checking out some of the podcasts. We'll talk about it more on a solo episode in the near future. But thank you so much. I love you guys. And yeah, dang, bro. That's wild. Today's guest is a musician from Atlanta, Georgia. He's a 3-time Grammy winner, the writer of countless hits over the years. And I can say, first and foremost, honestly, one of the best live shows around. He's about to kick off a big summer tour. We just got to hang out recently, and I'm fortunate to get to spend time with him again. Today's guest is Mr. Zac Brown. I left my phone somewhere yesterday, and I don't know if you've done that.
Use the Find My rig on it?
Oh, I didn't have any of that set up. And for 2 hours, I didn't have my phone.
It's a scary thing.
It was scary. And look, here's the crazy part. I was okay.
Yeah.
That was the kind of
Did you feel your pocket vibrate?
Oh, I felt
without it in there?
Yeah, I kept feeling my pockets. I was like, well, did I make sure I felt my pockets? Which was kind of a crazy thing to think.
Oh, when I run out of Zen, or I don't have my can of Zen in my pocket, bro, I'll pat my pants like every 15 seconds. I'm like, it's the worst feeling, like a fucking crackhead chasing a pebble, dude. I'm like digging in the carpet. I'm like, oh shit, I don't have any Zen.
Yeah, I was even feeling on different parts of my pants I'd never felt on before too. Like, could it be, like, is it
in my cup?
Yeah. Like, where did I put it? And it is crazy. Yeah, it'd be like, oh, maybe I didn't feel my pockets well enough. That would be the thought that would come to my head. Yeah. And I would go back and do it. And those cicadas are coming. Do you know about it?
No.
The cicadas, bro, are on the horizon. They're coming. So it's an insect.
Yeah,
right?
I know what cicadas are.
Okay. Beautiful insect. Really the El Caminos of insect, kind of, if you look at them. Very unique, appreciated, and do their own thing. But they have, this year is a special year where this year they have 2 broods, and they usually don't happen at the same time.
Okay.
And this is the first time since the 1805 or something that they are both happening at the same time. So there will be some parts of the country, I think it's just like in Illinois, where that'll get both of them at the same time. And so it'll be like so loud, you won't even be able to hear.
The locusts are coming. It's like Alfred Hitchcock shit, where people are like running around hiding in their bathrooms and shit. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so if your spouse goes missing during that time, right, then that's on Mother Nature, I think. Yeah. But that's coming up pretty soon. I think it's in May and early June. So, Zac Brown, man, good to see you, dude. Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you coming in, man. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
Doing awesome.
You got a new song really doing well.
Yeah, I got a new one out, Summertime Song. So we did a summer EP. We never really put together like just a bunch of like this kind of songs before. So we had the one we did for Jimmy Buffett too, the Pirates and Parrots, which just came out. So that was kind of the slower one, but the other ones are all just kind of upbeat, just like lake or beach music stuff. So yeah, Tie Up's the one that's out right now. And it's good shit, man. It's always fun. It's like when you write a new song, it's like having a new baby, you know? It's like just excited to get it out and play it live and hear people sing it back to you. So it's a good time, fun time for that.
Yeah, well, I guess what's that like? It's like you get that song out there, and then the first time you get it out there, and you start to see that people know it.
Yeah, yeah. And usually, if you see people like taking their shirts off while you're playing it, you know it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, out in the crowd. So
especially if those people are women, I think.
Yeah. But normally the women that want to do that are not the ones that you want to see do that, but it's still out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get to see what their R&D is like, the relative nipple diameter.
Oh, is that
relative to the size of the
person
breast itself?
Oh, yeah. Huh?
Yeah. So is it like a mortadella, like a big salami slice, or is it just like a little, tiny olive or something? You know? I don't know what it is. What
like a little pimento or whatever.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, dang. I didn't think about that. I wonder who has the largest breast and the smallest nipple, you know?
That's got to be a Guinness thing, man. Somebody's had to be recorded on that.
You would think it would probably be somebody that maybe be like kind of Swedish, Vietnamese, maybe, I feel like.
Yeah, that's a good cross. That'd leave like where there's no areola, it's just the tipple.
Yeah, that's it, brother. Yeah, Annie Hawkins Turner, actually better known by the stage name Norma Stitz, is a website entrepreneur and fetish model. Her pseudonym is a wordplay on enormous tits. As a
gigantomastia.
That's
the proper word for giant.
Yeah, for having big breasts is actually called gigantomastia, and she holds the Guinness World Record for largest natural breast. Wow.
But no talk of the R&D.
Yeah, we're not getting really stats on her. I want to get some BTS stats on that lady. Yeah, you've had success, man. When did you start to you've had a lot of success, right? You've had a long time of success.
I've been blessed, man. Been blessed, but worked hard.
Yeah.
To get there, just grinding, man. Grinding for years and years to get to the beginning of the success.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first definition kind of success, and then do you feel like it's kind of changed over time some?
It does, man. I think, you constantly every few years have to redefine what success means to you. But, back in the early days, it was like, I want to get a gig or play some music in a bar, and have them pay me and want me to come back. That's kind of the first step. And I was playing backup for this guy, just playing guitar for him and singing backup for a dude. And I was making $100 a night doing that and missing my early classes in college because of it. But that was the first time. But even back, man, when I was a kid, I was in choir, first grade through, all the way through college. And
are you a little songbird, huh?
Yeah, music was my first love, man. And it's still one of my biggest loves that I have, it just moved me, man. And it's always been my safety blanket as well. When I had my guitar with me as a kid, I carried it to school every day. I was that kid, had a guitar with me, football practice, after football practice. It actually kept me getting hazed and playing football. It's when I went to high school and was playing high school ball, if I could play some Pink Floyd, if I could play some Wish You Were Here or something the guys would want to do, then they wouldn't rub Ben Gay on my nuts like they would all the other freshmen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, you can't beat up the guy if you need him to do something for you later.
Exactly. That worked out good.
That's a great thing. It's that is such a great survival skill. You're I have to be of value to these people in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. And where was that, in Georgia where you were at?
Yeah, in Forsyth County, Georgia, which was pretty wild growing up.
Was it?
There because when I was probably 8 or 9, you go to Walmart and there'd be a full KKK rally happening in the parking lot.
No way.
Hoods and robes and beating on windows and handing out flyers. And, I was it was not that long ago, but Forsyth County was pretty, well known for that. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Figuring out what to do with that. And then I remember later, when I was a freshman, we had the first ever African-American kid in the schools there that came there.
No way.
And, and he was fast too. He was fast.
Well, he had to
played
be.
Football with us, and but But yeah, it's wild just thinking, man, it wasn't that long ago that it was like back then, you know, it wasn't that far back.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Well, I remember when I was growing up in our town, like a lot of black folks you couldn't even have like one of the kind of top jobs you would have would maybe be like a teacher. Like they didn't have like black doctors and stuff in our town, you know, when I was a kid. I've talked about that on here a lot, but you know, it's crazy to think that a part of that was alive in your life, you know?
Exactly. That it was that, you know, in straight up hoods, you know what I mean?
That's crazy. But and where would they meet at? Like a Dollar General or whatever?
Dude, I don't know. But up in Dahlonega, where I ended up moving and graduating from high school up in North Georgia, where I'm from there, like the dude, we knew like the Grand Wizard lived in that house. I was like his house. And it was,
Did y'all go trick or treat there?
No, they'd give out like razor blades and M80s or something, you know?
Yeah, I would think he would I don't know what. Yeah, because I actually shared a fence with David Duke, actually, who was a part of I think he was like one of the assistant chiefs or something of like of the Ku Klux Klan at one point. Dude, they had a restaurant, I remember, called Ku Klux Clams, dude, in Houma, Louisiana for a while. It was kind of like a little bit of like kind of a racial seafood kind of spot or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely crazy to think, you know. I never saw David Duke do anything racist, but, you know, obviously he had that in him in his past, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, too, is, you know, it's kind of based on just not being exposed to good people of all different kinds, you know. And that's like, you know, and I'm sure you feel the same way, like getting to travel with what we do. Like I've been on the road since I was, you know, 17, like just all over everywhere. And so if your granddad told you stories about these things, you just like the boogeyman, right? Like you should be afraid of these things or you shouldn't do this or whatever. You're like, yeah, you know, screw those guys or whatever. But, you know, when you travel, man, it just like that ignorance gets gone. And then it's kind of like you still see people hung in it. Cause I went back to my 10-year high school reunion. And the people had been doing the same thing every day since I left. And like, they might go to Panama City Beach for like vacation once a year like we used to do on spring break, but they're still kind of in that capsule, you know what I mean? So that's one thing. And that's another thing too, I'm sure we'll talk about later, but you know, being a camp kid, like going to summer camp and being around kids of all different backgrounds and ethnicities and abilities, and like that just opens you up for living with people for a week that you might not normally get to do in your own circles, you know? Like we're kind of limited to what our experience is, to what our environment provides. And then if you don't make an effort to go get out and see the world, then you're kind of stuck in that thing, you know?
Yeah, and it's kind of easy for it to happen for a lot of people, I think, when you come out of high school, because in a lot of places, there's a lot of tradition, right? And it's like, okay, well, you kind of go to the same place maybe your family went or something like that. And it's great. You know, I think tradition is super important. But then sometimes you don't realize you can be stuck in some of the same, like your area can get stuck in a lot of same traditional patterns, you know, of just thought, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of like my first time when I would go to camp. I think one thing that was good about camp was people came from other schools. So it was like suddenly your world was a little bit bigger, right? Yeah. Even if they came from a different town. Like I remember one time I met somebody and they told me they were from like the place had a different name than the town I was from. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't know that like if you kept driving, you got to other places, right? You know, I just thought you would just, you know, you just got to the end of the street and there was just like this unwell kid out there yelling about Def Leppard all day, you know? I didn't know you could really just go out into the world. And you went to camp, you said?
Yeah, I went to camp, and the camp that I went to and worked at as well was like an inclusion camp. So you'd have kids in your group that might be on the spectrum, and you'd have kids that come from like inner cities, like, you know, kind of impoverished areas, and then you'd have like rich kids that just sit around and play Nintendo all day, and then you'd have you know, so you put everybody together. And I remember like a transformative thing for me, there's just like a rope spider web, right? And you get there the first day and you're kind of in a group with these kids and you're kind of talking to them or kind of not really. You're not really down with them. But the first activity you got to do is every single person has to be passed through this spider web without touching it and get to the other side. So when you got to grab a kid, you know, by his cankles and pick him up and pass him through the thing, after you do that, you know, it's like a low ropes course kind of activity. But after you do that, then that's kind of the best icebreaker, because it's like nobody's ever, like, everybody puts 2 fingers underneath and lifts you up off the ground. You're like, you had never been picked up by other kids necessarily, unless you might have been, you know, bullied or thrown around by them. But it's like, you got to get everybody through the other side without touching the spider web, and then you can move to the next thing.
I've never seen this game. So this is a popular camp game?
Yeah, it's just like a camp activity, like an icebreaker. But once you realize, see the picture right there of him holding them up over their head? So you have to like pick kids up and pass them and hopefully don't drop them on their head. But it's, you know.
It looks very Egyptian almost based on this photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went looking. Some kid went missing, bus, and we looked for him for almost 2 months, I remember. And they're like, well, that's camp. And we're like, we didn't even find Jeremy, dude. And they're like, whatever, you know?
When I was a counselor, we had a girl.
So you ended up being a counselor at that camp?
At that camp.
Okay, so that camp had a big effect on
staff.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I realized as a kid, like, anybody that's really different than you from that point on, after you live with them for a week and you pick them up off the ground and you got to figure out.
Touching somebody.
And you have to, you realize, like, you're not that different. It's just like people have different things. Like, you know, some of the kids that I worked with Special Olympics in high school too. And like, you know, some of the kids that I work with that had Down syndrome, they were like the sweetest, most optimistic. Like, they just had a lot of parts of life figured out that mainstream kids maybe wouldn't.
Oh.
So it's like,
bro.
But once you're around that, and then you become a champion for those kids. And so if somebody else is picking on somebody that's different, you want to like stand up, because that's like your boy that you were in camp with. And so you realize in 1 week, by dropping somebody into this situation, now they've been around all these different things, and now they're gonna. And also at camp, you get to be like courageous for the first time. You know, like, everybody has to do a skit, right? You had to get up on a stage and you have to like do a stupid dance or whatever, like whatever to make people laugh.
Oh, dude, I remember we had to do Michael Jackson. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm not. Did I interrupt you really bad?
No, you're good.
Okay, sorry, man. But I forgot about this. We had to do, Another One Bites the Dust. Who was that? Michael Jackson? Queen, bro. Almost Michael Jackson. And yeah, we had to. And I had never heard the song. I didn't know what it meant or anything, you know. I thought it was about drug use or whatever. And but yeah, we had to get out there and dance in front of the other camp. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and so if you just go get up in your class at school and do that, dude, you're gonna get picked on forever. But being in that environment where you can be kind of brave for the first time, and other people are like celebrating it, and you kind of learn to be a little bit more confident. You learn about other people and different kinds of people, and you learn. So I realized, like, in 1 week of taking a kid and putting them in this, and some kids like have a raw deal. If they don't have any mentorship at home, if they don't have anybody that shows them how to be or how to treat people or why or whatever it is,
unreal.
Then they leave camp with this new, like, there's, like you were talking about, like, you just keep driving out of the town past the kid screaming about Def Leppard, like, until you get out of that and you realize there's another world, then they look forward to coming back there the next year. And that changes their mental capacity, where they're like, hey, if I make the right decisions, then I can get to a better place than where I'm at, rather than just being stuck there and, you know, watching people drink 40s and, you know, impregnate everybody in the neighborhood.
Oh, God, yeah. People should not be allowed in some areas, and I'm going to say it, they shouldn't be allowed to have sex within probably 90 feet of themselves.
That's a safe border, bro, because you have to land it perfect.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, no, I mean,
you'd have to be up on a building to get it 90 feet to landing at the right spot.
Yeah, I think I'm not saying this well. I think they shouldn't be allowed to have sex. I don't know how you would phrase it. We obviously need a legislator to help with this, but yeah, I think, there should be like a life. Yeah, we need some, we need some better zoning,
right?
And some genetic webs.
You talking about not breeding within 90 feet of where they're at, or you talking about actual physical touch of it? Because that presented a whole nother problem to me. It's like, I got to figure out how to get with this girl that's like 30 yards away and succeed. You know what I mean? There would definitely be a great form of birth control, because the people that would actually hit the bullseye is going to be like super small.
I mean, maybe an archer, I guess. I don't know who would have.
Some other means, a lacrosse.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Oh, that guy would be, it'd be messy, but he would get the job No, dude, you were just talking about something. Oh, we were talking about like kids with Down syndrome and stuff, right? So I was like really humbled. Recently, I went on this show. It's called Beautiful, Tasty, Beautiful, right? And the guys, it's these fellas, Sean and Marley. They're Australian, right? One of them has Down syndrome. One of them, I think, is just like a Kappa Sig or something. So here we are right here, right? Go to that beer chicken right here. I'm a huge fan of these guys, right? Been a fan for years. And so when I was in Australia, I got to go do...
I've watched some of them cooking.
Oh, yeah, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to go do their show. So, dude, here's the craziest part. At the end, they're having a beer. I can't drink, right? That's because in my life, right? Where I'm at in my life. And I'm thinking to myself, and the guys, Marley's like, have a beer. And I'm like, I'm trying to explain to him. I was like, I can't. He's like, have a beer. And I'm like, I can't. If I ever thought someone was like negative about these guys, they can drink beer. I can't even. They have Down syndrome. I can't, and they can have beer.
Yeah,
like they're more reliable.
Yeah, they
person in the community.
They have crazy gifts, man.
Right, but it's like I can't even have that's the strata I'm on now.
Right.
It's like when you are an alcoholic, you are considered by society, outside of the web of people that even have Down syndrome. It's like, God, I was like, I just felt like such a lame-o, man. But yeah, these guys are, bro, unbelievable. Like, I don't even know if they have Down. They were I was like, these guys are way cooler than most people I've ever spoken to.
It's like you find this with kids too that have been given everything, and like maybe their parents don't pay attention to them, or maybe they don't really whatever, but there's like a poverty of spirit that people have. So it's like, you can live in a nice house and have this or whatever, but you don't really know how to appreciate anything that you have. But that's one thing with the people I worked with Downs, like they have this incredible spirit about them. And it's like, you can't teach that. You can't teach that to mainstream kids that might not be able to do it. But it's kind of infectious when you get everybody in the same group, you know what I mean? So we'd have like 2 kids that are on the spectrum or have Downs and come from the part of camp called Sparrowwood, which I worked at that spot also.
Sparrowwood?
Sparrowwood.
Okay.
And I was on staff one full summer living at Sparrowwood, like different group in every week, and I'd have 2 campers that I'm responsible for having them shit showered and shaved and ready to like come join everything. And you never know what it was going to be. But
so you start off as a camp attendee, and then how many years then you got counseling?
And then I started counseling when I was 15, and actually a year earlier than I was supposed to, and I counseled till I was 17.
Okay.
And then for 3 years, every summer, I lived the whole summer at camp working as staff. So living there, different group coming in every week for 9 weeks or 10 weeks out of the summer. And what that taught me about myself was invaluable. Like, I learned more about me than I ever thought that I would. But so that was the thing. When I was like 14, I was like, I want to play music and I want to build a camp. Like, that's what I wanted to do. So my impact that it had on me made me want to dedicate my life to building a place that does the same thing that I kind of experienced. So
like a summer camp.
Yeah. Summer camp. And then we built an amazing campus. It's called Camp Southern Ground. And
you have a camp now?
Yes.
Camp Southern Ground?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So you're able to make this happen. What happens with music? And you have to obviously stop being a counselor once music got busy.
Yeah, I had to stop being staff. But then I was like, my dream, well, first of all, was to be a successful musician. Like, just get to where, because I worked at this place in Dahlonega, not far from the KKK dude's house, called the Wagon Wheel, and it was like a catfish fry house place, right? And I washed dishes there. So when you take a whole pan of catfish grease and you lay it in the dishwasher and you have one of those sprayers, you grab the handle, bro, and you spray that, dude, 80% of it gets on your face.
Yeah.
And so I was washing dishes in this catfish fry house place for like months, and I was like, dude, there's got to be something better than this,
But the food was good.
Oh, the food was good. Yeah.
God, yeah.
Fried catfish and hush puppies and all the shit. But And then I'd clean the grease machine at the end of the night. Like you got to filter all the grease and then take the filter, put this filter on there that has all the cracklings and all the stuff in it. And then you spray that, bro. And it's like, so I would come home like half soaking wet, driving my granddad's old like Oldsmobile or whatever it was, had the blue like plush seats, like giant ass heavy door. Like when you shut that door, bro, it was like you could hear it 2 blocks away, man.
Oh, it was like when the tomb opened for Jesus, some of those doors.
It was like, and when you open it, it was same thing. But I would come home being soaking wet, and like I wore glasses back then too, bro. So
why?
Like,
just because of the grease or because of sight?
No, it's because I couldn't see.
Yeah,
I had bad vision.
Who would let a guy who can't see go into a dang greaser?
I mean, it kept it out of my eyes, but I definitely wore the catfish on my face. And then I worked as a cook at McDonald's for a while too. I was grilling at McDonald's, bro.
Really? Yeah. And did they have a grill at that time, or what's the actual?
It's a flat griddle thing, and then you put them into a warmer, you know, but. I got fired from McDonald's because I had this manager at the time, and her boyfriend would come up in like a blue 5.0 Mustang, and with his, you know, he had the hair, he had the whole thing, and she'd fill up a whole bag full of fries for him, just like a whole scoop, and throw it out the window to him or whatever. So one day, every hour they throw away all the sandwiches that we made, right? So every hour it's got to go in the trash. So I was taking a chicken sandwich that was going to be thrown away, and my buddy was there. He was walking, and he was like, "I'll eat that." And I was like, cool. I slid it across the counter. I wasn't trying to hide it or whatever. So I got fired from McDonald's with possibility to rehire.
What the hell, dude? Well, first of all, that sounds like something that happens in a prison system, dude. Well, it's like with possibility of parole. Like, there's a chance.
If you're good, you can come back.
What the hell?
Yeah.
And what was it, a McFish?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a McChicken.
Oh, McChicken. Yeah, well, that's better. If you slot a McFish to somebody, first of all, you're obviously a dirty sorcerer, okay? Because who even eats a McFish except sometimes your mom does when your dad left.
Right.
That's the only person that ever ate a McFish.
The rock bottom sandwich.
Oh, it's so sad. My mom would get it sometimes, and even
times were hard for her then, right?
Times had never been easy for my mother, and the wrapping paper on it was a little different. It had a little more adult yellowish color. It was a little more pastel than like the kind of electric kind of.
It's the color of agony.
Yeah, it was a little bit. It just had more. It had been through a little more.
Right.
You know, it had been recycled maybe. And I would see my mom get the McFish, and I'd be like, oh, well, things aren't going to go well at home, you know?
Yeah.
But that's life, man. But yeah, I can't believe you worked with them. And then did you hope to get rehired, or what? How did?
No, I was pretty much after cleaning grease and then doing McDonald's and everything. I was like, I don't want to smell like old food anymore, you know. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to doing it. And me and my buddy in high school, so we were singing together. He's my best friend, and dude, his family is the stories of his family, bro. Like you would not even believe some of the stuff that his 7 brothers and sisters, all their names start with R. All of them have 7 letters in them, all of them. But like the life story behind all of them, dude, that's a whole episode of like 3 hours of talking about the stuff that happened with his family. But
really?
Unbelievable. But he was my boy. And so we sang together, and we had a quartet in high school. So we sang like barbershop, right?
Yeah.
There were 3 guys that could sing and choir, and the other dudes were just in there because their girlfriends were in there, and they were tone deaf and couldn't sing. So we'd have we do literary meets and compete against these kids that are like, everybody can sing. One dude can sing like bass like a grown ass giant man. Yeah. And then, but we always had one dude that was awful. Like me and my 2 best friends in high school, Tyler and Radford, we would all sing together, and we could lock in. But that we always had one dude that was awful, and we never had one other dude that could ever sing that was in choir. So we always had like, it was like the bad leg on the chair, right? So that, but me and Radford sang like coffee houses and stuff together, and you know.
And did y'all have a little band at that point?
It was just me and him, just playing guitars and singing.
Yeah.
And that was when.
Were you a good guitarist?
I would practice, man. My brother took me to a bluegrass festival when I was 10. And they had like a guitar competition where kids would compete against each other.
Oh, wow.
And there were kids that were like 8 years old, dude, that were just ripping the shit out of the guitar. And I was like, fuck, if that kid can do that shit, I can too. So I would go sit on my porch in Dahlonega and practice, dude.
Isn't it crazy how seeing something, it's so crazy the value of getting to see something. Like even if you're talking about whether it's another culture, a skill set. You know, I remember the first time I saw somebody do something, I was like, damn, dude, I could do something.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like it's unbelievable. Or if somebody takes you to see like, this guy plays music and then he show you like, that's how little seeds get planted, but it really is. It's like, it sounds ridiculous, but that's just the way it works. I remember a guy showed me how to do, one day I was at YMCA, I was at summer camp. So we go to just YMCA camp and it was good, you know, but it was just a lot of people that would get hay fever and we'd all be like kind of in one building, you know? And so I think it was just kind of safest way for the city to have us be in the summers because, it was back before they had like Claritin or whatever.
Right.
And your eyes would just, you would get, you know, you would just like, and just weren't doing too good out there. And they give you a soccer ball, it'd be like 97 degrees. You can't even see.
Yeah. Moldy. Like the first summer camps I went to super early, like you'd be in a cabin that didn't have any air conditioning and it's like Georgia in the summertime, dude. It's like, you know, and you'd have the old denim mattresses. You remember those? Like it had like denim pattern on them, like stripes on the mattresses and they're all moldy and like the pillows are moldy and there's no thing. So the first 4 days you just get used to sweating.
Yeah.
And then about day 5 or 6, you kind of get used to it and then it's time to go home.
Dude, isn't there something nice though about, there's something nice, like sometimes I'll be on vacation and the place I'm staying at won't have air conditioning. And the first night, it's kind of like pain in the butt. The second night, but then you almost get like in sync with the universe a little bit. Like I feel like my dreams pick up and like I feel like I'm a lot more in tune with things when I get to that point. Yeah. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah, we adjust. That's one thing that's weird. I think that's why our immune systems go nuts as like humans because we're made to live out in freezing cold or super hot or be scraped up. Like all that stuff builds our immune system. So when we sit inside at like 72 degrees every day, all day, and then something hits our system, then it's like the faucet turns all the way on because it doesn't really know what to do, right? You're just like, you don't have an iPad, so your system thinks it's just time to make your nose run off, like, you know, all the way down onto your pants. But it's like we're made to adjust and adapt to those things. So like being uncomfortable is actually what makes us like our systems like work right. In a way.
Yeah, I got to do better. I think I can do. Well, I don't want to like be upset at myself about it, but I think I can do a little bit better at trying to be a little more uncomfortable at times with a lot of things. For me, it can be in a relationship. It could be like George Kittle was on here and he talked about how he goes and gets in his ice bath every day first thing in the morning, and I'm like, you are a person from the beginning of time, you know, like you're not doing well, George. But he's just like, I like to start my day off with something that's uncomfortable. You know, Mike Tyson, I just heard him talking about it in an interview about like, that's the only way you start to see what fear is. And you start to get a little look at fear. You might just think, oh, I don't want to do this. But really a little bit of that's fear. And he's like, and that's how you start to get to work with fear. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the fastest growing alternative to vaping and smoking? Well, if you haven't, it's true, and you're hearing it now. And the best to offer this flavored air is Fume. That's right. I like Fume. I use it. When I go out with my friends, they'll be reaching for their bad habits, and I get a little squirreled out, but then I get my Fume. They have different cartridges in there. They have orange vanilla, maple pepper, crisp mint. They got them all. It's beautiful. Fume is not a vape. No batteries. It looks awesome, dude. Looks cool. You're like, whoa, look at this guy doing good, isn't he? Fume fills the void for me, ditching a bad habit that you can leave, but you still have something to reach for. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code Theo to get a free gift with your journey pack. Head to tryfume, tryfum.com. That's tryfum, and use code Theo, or scan the QR code on screen to get a free gift with your order today. That's right, flavored air. I know it sounds wild, but it's effective. I love what DoorDash is doing for Mother's Day. If you want to make your mom smile, you can start Mother's Day with flowers or surprise her with gifts from the brands she loves, delivered the same very day with DoorDash. Does mom have a sweet tooth? Is she a tech enthusiast? Does she like painting or doing things, maybe a beauty connoisseur, or is she outdoorsy? No matter what she's into, you can make her smile with a fruit or flower bouquet, makeup, tech gear, workout wear, and more. DoorDash is coming to the rescue. Get a Mother's Day gift as unique as she is with DoorDash. Use code Theo to get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's code THEO. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. Happy Mother's Day. So then your band just takes off? Like how do you start to pop off for you, Zach?
So for 10 years, me and the drummer, 6 years, me and the drummer, we just made our first CD, and we were called Far From Einstein. And so just leaving college to go and do this thing, and a friend of mine who works with us now loaned me like $6,000 to make the CD. And so we make this record. We find this dude that worked at Guitar Center, had like a home studio, and we went in and recorded it. Yeah, that's me on the left there.
No way.
Yeah. So we made this this record Far From Einstein, and so me and my drummer, we were like, dude, so we're gonna go to Panama City and we're gonna make it. And next year we're gonna be huge, bro.
Dude, everybody in the South, if you could, the way to make it was through Panama City, dude. It was like the natural light in New York.
Yeah. So we had a van. I sold my insurance policy that my dad had bought for me for like $1,200, and I bought an old Dodge Good Times van. Like had the bubble windows. Ooh. It was a V8, but I'm pretty sure only like 4 of them worked.
Yeah.
And you could smell the gas just running out of it, like in the car. And so we made 1,000 CDs.
Wow.
Yep. It's the bubble window one
right there.
Right there. It had an orange shag carpet in it. I still have it.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. And so me and my dog, I had a Jack Russell at the time, and my drummer, we got in there, we had like our instruments, we had what we call shits on sticks, which are just the speakers, like a powered PA system that had to run 2 speakers.
Yeah.
And we went down to Panama City and we're like, man, we're gonna make it, bro. So we drove around and we found this dude that had a daiquiri shack. He had a trailer that had like a little RV that had a daiquiri shack in it, but he had power. We saw like extension cords going to it. So we're like, hey man, will you let us plug in out here and set up? So we plugged in and we'd set out and we played for like 8 hours an afternoon and a night for this daiquiri shack and playing. And we were sleeping. There was a house that had been hit by the hurricane. And
oh yeah, those are free.
This is right on Roberts Drive, right where like Spinnaker and La Vila and all that stuff was.
Trash, dude.
So
where Tone Loc hooked up with my girlfriend too. I'll say it, dude. That's a true story. But anyway, sorry.
No.
So you guys play right out there, and people showed up.
We slept on the back because we had our van, but we were sleeping in the van. It wasn't that great, but we found a house that was kind of abandoned, but the porch was intact on the back. It had been like wrecked. So we sleep on the back of this porch, and then the Sunglow Motel was across the street. So we go get in their pool shower and like take a shower, and sleeping out of the van. And I remember this is like, we were just trying to make ends meet, right? Like just make enough money to buy something to eat, you know, just to be able to hang out. So it didn't cost us anything to sleep on the porch of this house. And I remember they were giving away barbecue Doritos. That was when that flavor just came out. And some dude was walking down the beach and giving out sample bags. And he was like, wow, dude, do y'all want these? I don't want to have to hand them all out. So he gave us a case of Doritos, bro. But I was like somebody giving you $1 million back then, because it was like, dude, that's like $1 a bag times whatever for us.
Yeah, probably 36 bags.
And all I had was a gas card. So we get white bread and bologna and mustard and natural light, and that was our diet, bro. But then we added Doritos to the sandwiches, and that changed the game. We got free.
Living la vida loca. Yeah, dude. Welcome to France.
So while I was swimming out in front of this Sunglow Motel, it was right on the beach, you know, or right at this abandoned house. I was swimming, and I met these older ladies that were out there, and I was just like, walked up to them. They were just standing out in the surf, and I was like, what are y'all thinking about out here or whatever? Ended up making friends with them. Their mom owned a badass house that was down the road on Roberts Drive, and they had a garage that had a bed in it and a bathroom and everything. So we made friends with these people, and it was Muriel and JB Ellis was their names, and they were super old. She was like probably 79 or 80 at the time, and he was probably 76. He wasn't at home first, so it was just her. But she just like let us in her house, and they had a badass like stereo system and 9 million bottles of liquor everywhere. You open a cabinet, it was full of liquor.
So like, this is a senior citizens home you guys are in now?
And so she was like, oh yeah, y'all can stay here, whatever. And so we were looking so we had a place to stay, right? So now we had air conditioning and this badass house. And basically, if you want to come in and have drinks with them or whatever, and they go out dancing, they go to like this place called Salty's, and they'd get up and dance and shag and get down, but super amazing people. But I was wondering what the husband was going to think, like, that she just brought in like two stinky dudes.
Two stinky youths, van youths.
Yes.
Okay, at a motel pool.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Who have luckily come into 36 bags of Doritos.
Yeah. We had a big sack of Doritos, bro. Yeah. So we were worried about him coming home, and we hung out with her for like a few weeks or whatever, and we'd sit and play music for him in the house. And he finally came home, and he was cooler than she was. They were both just amazing, dude. So, and they supported us. So then we found out there's a new restaurant that had opened that was run by the Israeli mob.
Oh yeah,
and it was called Joey's, and
called America.
It was about one of their guys that their brothers that had died or whatever. They named it after him.
Wow.
But this was down right on Front Beach Road, and so we got a gig. We auditioned for them, and we set up on the deck. They had a little outdoor deck, and we played outside.
And that was the audition?
That was the audition to play for them, right? So we set up and we played, and they're like high-fiving each other, whatever. They drove Lexuses. They had the like Gucci belts and the slick back hair and all the thing. And, yeah. But we started playing, and they loved it. Like, they were like high-fiving each other, whatever. So they gave us a chance. So we played the first 10 nights for $150 a night for 6 hours a night. Wow. So that was our first gig at this place, Joey. So we did the 10 nights in a row. We made $1,500, and we were like fucking poor rich.
Oh,
I went and bought some new Skechers, bro. I was like, I think he bought some Doc Martens.
Buy your mom some sandals or whatever.
Yeah. And so we ended up then we ended up keeping the gig there 6 nights a week. And then after that, I negotiated to get $300 a night.
Let's talk business.
So then this dude from Illinois, this mattress salesman dude, was in the bar one night, and he looked a little bit like John Candy, but more awkward and more really weird. He'd get really drunk and put his hat on backwards and roll his sleeves up, and like he was interesting, but he just had a brand new condo, and he's super lonely because he's a pretty awkward dude, right?
Yeah.
So he let us move in his condo. So we're living in a brand new condo now that's like Middle Beach Road, just one road off the back there. And we slept on air mattresses, and like we were making cash and like doing what we're doing. I remember calling my dad and like being like, I got a job or whatever. And he's like, go do it,
Dad, I'm living with an older guy from Illinois,
Exactly. If you need a magnetic mattress pad, I got the guy now.
Dude. Wow. So
we just climbed that ladder in Panama City, bro. We were doing good, but we were grinding, dude. 6 hours a night, man. We played from 8 till 2 in the morning.
Oh, at night. Well, it takes so long, especially then, when you think this is probably before social media.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Then think about the only way for something really to travel. People had to tell you, hey, you got to hear about these guys. I mean, unless you got to, through the gates to radio play.
Yeah. And we were set up there playing 6 nights a week, 6 hours a night. And we did that for, the whole summer. And then we go back to Atlanta, and I played some bars in Atlanta. And so we did a circuit for and so I had to create a business model, right? This place didn't have live music. So if I had grown up in Nashville and I was like trying to go get a gig for $60 a night to play somewhere, I wouldn't have fucking been able to survive. So what I do, I go to sports bars like a Wild Wings that didn't have live music, and I say, I'm gonna come play here every Wednesday night, and I just want the door.
Right.
So it doesn't cost you anything to have me here at first. Like let us come in and prove ourselves. Give us a tab, give us like $100 tab, and so we come in and play there. But fuck, after like 6 months, dude, on a Wednesday, we'd have 300 people coming on a Wednesday night, and I was making $5 at the door.
Yeah.
So we were making bank then. So we did that 3 nights in Atlanta, 2 nights in Panama City, and 2 nights in Birmingham.
Every week?
Every week. All like 7 days a week for a long time, 6 days a week. I had to hire a dude from Mississippi State, like this old football player dude who'd get bad road rage, man.
Really? Was it TJ Mulvaney? Was that his name?
His name was Keith Lozier, but he drove us, dude. I hired him just to hang with us and drive. So I'd sleep against the window in my truck. I had my brother co-signed with me to get like a 1500 Silverado, like a red, like the mini extended cab, like the little baby extended cab.
Yeah, that little sex launcher, baby. I'd get that thing. It's beautiful.
Yep. So I had that and a covered trailer with my gear in it. So we were like stepping up, right? We were out of the Good Times van, which got like 4 miles to the gallon, bro. It's like, it was, so we graduated.
That's a big step.
Yep.
That's a big step up, man.
And we could get around and we were just hustling, man. But 6 years, we grinded like that for six years, just like playing the same house gigs in 3 states, just grinding, selling those CDs for $5 a piece, and then gaining tip money and whatever drugs people would throw into the tip jar at the end of the night, you know.
And at that time, were you like crossing paths with other musicians? Like, I'm trying to think if Jason Mraz was coming. I think he might have been out of, or like John Mayer. He was out of Georgia. Was there any like? Did you cross paths with any of those?
There was nobody in these circuits because the places we played, they never had live music. So I didn't know there were like a rule or way anybody else did it. I didn't know how anybody else did it because we just fucking created it ourselves.
Right.
So we didn't know like what we're supposed to do because we just figured out something that worked for us. But we add value to the places because if you own a restaurant, like if you make bank on a Wednesday night, that's all cake because you lose your ass through the week and then Friday, Saturday, you make it up. So you know, these places were stoked. And I remember when we had outgrown playing the sidelines up in Kennesaw, Georgia, we'd outgrown it and it was time and we moved on to like playing theaters and playing, you know, honky tonks and stuff like that, like bigger places. The manager, when I left, because they were making good money there, the owner, whatever, left me a voicemail and I saved it. It's on my old phones, but it was like, after all I've done for you and all this shit and whatever, I hope you fail. Nuh-uh. And I saved that voicemail and it's just funny, but
what a negative kind of outlook, huh?
Well, he was making a lot of money off of us,
yeah, but
man,
still, he could have just thought also, man.
Yeah, I'm glad for you guys or whatever.
But I guess, maybe that's usually
that made it even more like kind of entertaining to us. And also just like, you know, I didn't know where I was going. All I knew is that I just wasn't going to quit.
Yeah.
But it got, you know, it's that law like 10,000 hours. Whatever you do for 10,000 hours, you're going to get good at, right? So playing so many nights, so many hours. But I also taught me the appreciation of like, loving all the people, like the dudes cleaning up the bar or the waitresses and whatever it is. Like I was connected to those people. They became like family in those places. So for me, just treating people good was like that. It taught me to like, those people are sometimes the only people listening to you at the end of the night when you're playing, you know, because I played some shitty gigs, dude, like the worst.
Really?
Oh, the worst. Like no one there. You drove 8 hours to go play a show and you set up and it's just like, you know.
Do you ever play during a fight? Any fights break out and you have to keep playing?
Yeah. And I've had to join fights like in the middle because friends are involved in it.
Really?
In the middle of it.
Why? Because y'all don't have a good percussionist in the area or what happened?
Yeah. Dude, there's some stories, man. The amount of bar fights you've seen when you play in bars for 10 years is a lot. And your friends are bartenders and stuff like that or whatever, and you'll see some shit about to go down. There's like 3 dudes that came in from one of the nights. So this is a Dixie Tavern, right? So I ended up.
Where's that in Jackson?
It's in Georgia. It's in Marietta, Georgia.
Okay.
It's right on Cobb Parkway. Right where the Brave Stadium is now. The new Brave Stadium. It's right down the road from there. But that was where I cut my teeth. So as we got out of that circuit of like Panama City, Birmingham, or whatever, then we started playing around Atlanta more often. And I had like 3 or 4 house gigs around Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And actually talked them into building the stage that was in there because they didn't have live music. So they built the stage and we would play there. And one of the nights, these 2 dudes from Miami had come in, like one tall, skinny dude and one kind of heavy dude. And so one of my buddies was bartending at the time and ended up having words with him or whatever. And so the tall, skinny dude called one of the female bartenders who was married to another bartender that was there, a different guy. A really bad word, called her the C word.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And so it was off. And so the bouncers, so you know all the bouncers, you know, like you're not going to get skulled. Right. You're not going to get curb stomped because nobody's like looking out or whatever. So it was a little safer place to fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we had off-duty friends, off-duty cops that would come in and hear us play and stuff like that. So they're about, so we come in, and I remember this night especially because somebody had given me like a little chocolate mushroom, right?
Yeah, baby.
And so it's like,
love you, baby.
So it's like right before, like 2 or 3 songs before the end of the night, right? So I ate a little piece of chocolate, right? Yeah, so buddy. Whatever. And so we get done playing the song or whatever, and things getting a little HD, you know, it's looking good or whatever. And then these 2 dudes from Miami called her that name, and the bouncers are trying to throw him out or whatever. And one of my buddies has the big one, kind of, he's got his arm pushed up on his neck, holding him against the wall. And this other dude, this tall, skinny one, who I think he's on meth because he was crazy strong.
Yeah.
So he's like swinging at everybody. So when I was in college, I did judo at West Georgia. So this dude's swinging at everybody. There's like 6 dudes in a circle, and this dude's just like swinging and just trying to hit somebody, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he's turning around. He swings one of my buddies and misses, whatever. So I get on his back. I get him in a rear naked choke, right? Yeah. And I'm starting to be special because from my chocolate, right? So I've got this dude, and I remember the feeling of his warm neck, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I was bigger than, I was probably like 250. You know, I was a bigger
Jacked?
boy. No, just, I mean, I was strong, but I was not
thicker.
Yeah. So this dude, he goes down to the ground with me on his back. And then this dude is methed up enough, got that super strength, stands up, picks me up with me on his back and gets up. And so then I started using my back. I full on just like cranked it out, right? So I kind of felt him starting, and my feet were off the ground.
Oh, damn.
And so, yeah, he picked me up.
Oh my God, this is like
he was like cowboy meth strong, like a bull riding meth dude. Right?
Yeah, let me lasso that pipe, huh?
Yeah. So I'm squeezing this dude, and I finally feel him starting to go limp or whatever, and my feet touch the ground. So I just let go of the dude at that point. And this dude's standing, right, like this. And so there's a brick planter that's right outside Dixie Tavern. This dude fell like a tower, bro. Back. Hit his forehead on the bricks, bro. Cut his head open. Ooh. I'm tripping. The dude hits the ground. Pool of blood starts coming out from this dude's head.
And when you try to put it back in his head?
And then I think at that point I just kill this dude, right? Oh. So I run in the back, and I go get in the beer cooler where the kegs are, bro. What? And I'm sitting in the cooler with all the kegs are.
You think you're gonna be so cold that the cops can't find you or something?
Yeah, they weren't gonna find me with a thermal scan because I was getting hypothermia in there, bro. I was all by myself. And so that everybody's looking for me or whatever, trying to find me.
They're using a depth finder or something. Yeah.
So I'm sitting next to this cooler, and after about 30 minutes, bro, and I just keep seeing this blood going, like coming out of Steve's head. And I'm sitting there and I'm shivering or whatever, and somebody finally comes in and is like, "Are you okay?" Whatever. And they're like, "Just stay in here," or whatever. So I'm like, "Fuck." So then I get really cold. So I'm like, you know, I'm at like 35 degrees by then, bro. So I'm like, so I come out and I walk out and I look outside, and there's ambulance, fire truck, police, like the whole place is crawling with, like, you know.
Yeah, federales.
Yeah. So my buddy Mike was an off-duty cop, and he was there. He told the cops that he hit the dude and knocked him out, and he hit the thing. So I was off the hook or whatever, but that was a wild trip. So this dude's on the ground, and right when they start to pull a gurney up or whatever to put this dude on a gurney and move him because they didn't touch him because they thought his neck was broken or whatever, he woke up and he runs to this bush. Cops are all out there at this point. Mm-hmm. He runs out to this bush and starts shuffling around in this bush, and cops are fucking pulling out their guns and shit and whatever. The dude pulls a gun out of the bush, grabs a gun, and the cop fucking knocks it out of his hand, grabs him, puts him in cuffs and all this shit or whatever. But that dude was close to pulling that thing out and shooting somebody, but
he could have shot somebody earlier if you hadn't
exactly
had that opportunity to ride on his back.
Exactly, yeah. That was wild, bro. But there's a lot of nights like that I've had playing in bars.
And what song were y'all playing when this happened?
Dude, it was over because I had just gotten done, and it was like they were just did last call, and they were kind of clearing people out, and I don't think that they were ready to leave, but you know.
Oh, that's kind of the most dangerous time. It's that weird time when the bar is like, you know, it's kind of closed. People are like, if they've been talking to a girl, they're trying to get in their last words or something. It's almost like the final round of like a dating show. Someone's violently drunk. Someone has been abandoned by their friends or spouse. Some guy's just been doing coke and is just chewing off the last few inches of his face in the corner somewhere. Yeah. He finally shows back up.
That's why I would never want my kids to work in a restaurant or a bar, because I've seen all that shit like firsthand. And what happens after all that, and like what people do to keep bartending and drinking shots. Like nobody can drink 1,000 shots a night without doing a bunch of blow.
Yeah.
And so it's around everywhere. It's cash money, and people are, it's
Were
wild.
people ripping it pretty hard? Were you guys partying pretty hard?
I wasn't, but as soon as I saw that the first time, then I started seeing it everywhere.
Isn't that crazy?
Every bar, dude. It's just like that was all going on the whole time, and I had no idea.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you get a car, then you see them all the time.
Exactly.
It's like the first time you see somebody do coke, and you're like, oh, I see everybody's doing this everywhere. Yeah. People aren't just kind of casually touching each other's hands like that in the bar for no reason.
Yeah. Well, my bass player early on, I get done playing him, and people would come up and go, "Hey, man, let me holler at Donnie, or let me holler at Jimmy, or whatever the dude's name was." And I was like, "Why do you need to holler at him?" And so it turns out he was dealing blow at my shows. Oh, so I had to fire him.
Oh yeah.
He could play fast though, bro.
I'm sure
he could play fast, dude. And I had no idea this was happening, right? So I let go. But that's how I met John Hopkins, who was the first guy that was in my band that I have now.
John Hopkins.
Yeah.
And not the lymphoma guy, is it?
The same name.
It is?
John Hopkins, yeah.
Oh, I met him at Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
You guys played a special event there.
So Hops.
Oh yeah.
Hops the first one that was in my band, but I was recording with him and I told him about my bass player and he was like, "Well, I can play a little bass, I can sit in." So, in February it'll be 20 years of him sitting in.
Wow.
But he's one of the best singers, dude. Best fucking background singer, period. But he had a band called Brighter Shade, which was like this kind of heavier metal band that was badass. He could scream and was legit. So that was the beginning of the band that I have now. He was the first member coming into that. But because it wouldn't have happened if my bass player hadn't been dealing blow.
Damn.
Yeah.
That guy could have still been with you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't know, dude. His ticks would have, I would have found out with the ticks eventually. All the ticks made sense after that.
He had that pentameter on him, huh? Some people get a little iambic, bro. If you have a little too much blocaine, baby, I've been there. I turn into a damn harmonica, son. Today's episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Daddy, you know that. When you are when your wiener's not doing it all, Blue Chew can help. They do it, that's right. Blue Chew, baby, chew your way to some stronger wiener. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. And the best part, it's all done online. That's right. You don't have to meet a guy in an alley or tickle some pervert or whatever to get the pills. You're good. So no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Theo at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BLUECHEW, promo code Theo to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. I'll tell you this, dude, if you want to buy tickets, you got to be careful. You can't buy them outside of a arena or gymnasium. Some guy's sweating. Some guy's leading you into a back alley, and he gives you some tickets and steals your family. It can get bad. Game Time has come to the rescue. Game Time makes getting tickets for concerts and events faster and easier. Even if you don't buy tickets right away, prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to show or game start time. Did you know that? That's right. If you're looking the day before, you're like, these are high. Look about 11 minutes before the game. Bam, cheaper. Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code WEEKEND for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code WEEKEND, WEEKEND, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute deals, lowest prices, guaranteed. We went and saw a Pelicans game in New Orleans, and they beat the Bucks. It was about a month ago, and we did it. Thanks, Game Time. Are you ready to win Mother's Day and cement your reputation as the best gift giver in your family? Well, give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. She'll love looking back on your childhood memories and seeing what you're up to today. Even better, with unlimited storage and an easy-to-use app, you can keep updating mom's frame with new photos. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. How nice to be somewhere and just add a beautiful new photo into your mother's queue. It's just a gift where you can constantly surprise her. Oh, look, Mom, there's something new. Simple things like that go a long way with moms, I know. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com/Theo to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame. That's AURA frames.com/Theo. Use code THEO at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. Yeah, one thing I noticed about when your band plays, dude, it's not just you.
Yeah.
It is everybody.
Yeah.
It is a chorus. It's a super ensemble vibe.
Yeah, yeah. And I think if you're doing it right, you're the worst dude in the band, right? So you have people that are in your band that can do all this amazing shit. And you want to show them off, man. You want to let them do what they're best at and let people see that, you know? But I think what I'm good at is just figuring out how to make that accessible, like being able to just like find the things that I feel like are going to be the most impressive they can do and just letting them do it, man, letting them do their thing, you know? That's really what makes our band special, is the musicianship of the people that I have. Everybody in my band's a ninja, man. And I create things. I'm not really like a theory guy. I definitely had my party days when I was supposed to be studying theory, because I went to West Georgia University. I went there on a voice scholarship to sing classical music. But then my roommate that I was with when they put me there in the dorm was this dude that smoked weed every 5 minutes, bro, from Tennessee. So I'd never been around that, really. I saw it twice in high school or whatever, but then this dude, and then
he's just in there just puffing and bowling out.
Yeah. Then there was acid around, and then there was all this shit. So I was supposed to be learning about theory in music, but I never liked the rigidity of that. Like, you can turn music into math, but it's not that to me. Like, I want to make you feel something. So I got all these amazing people in my band that can tell you, oh, here's the math, right?
Right.
Like, my bass player can listen to a song and write the chart for it as he listens one time down. All the notes, the timing, the thing,
But that's not you.
That's not me, because I want to be able to try to transcend a feeling. And then they can tell us what the math is, and they'll make a chart, and then everybody can play it. Like, I can play a song for him on my guitar, and then he gives it to my band, and they have a chart, and then the first time we ever play it, it's a song, like everybody playing on it. But I never had a class in school that taught me how to use my creativity. Never had a class ever. It's all copy this shit, copy what Beethoven did, copy what Mozart did, copy Bach, copy all these things. And it's like, what would it have been like for me if I'd had a class that was like, here's how you write a song. Here's how you take what you feel and put it into something like that. Like, it was never, there weren't classes for creativity. There was art class. You can make some shit with some strings, or like string some macaroni and shit together.
Oh yeah. Or dude, we had a class one time we had to make, this was insane, casts, right? Like body casts or whatever. And they had one girl put hers on. It didn't take it off for like 14 weeks, dude. This lady, everybody at a certain point forgot that we'd even made it for class, right? Because it was just one small thing we're doing one week. People thought she was handicapped for like 3 months, dude.
I bet it smelled awesome in there too, bro.
Crazy, dude.
I bet she had big hairs. She had those like caterpillar hairs growing in her legs too when she got that thing off. Never had a hair on her leg, just took it off and had a full like bush all the way down her leg.
It had a little bit of, I don't want to say fern coming out of the edge of it.
Yeah.
But it definitely, she had her own, she was making her own little land before time over there, it felt like. You know?
Growing an ecosystem, man.
Yeah, she had a little bit of ecosystem going on. What else was I thinking about? Did you guys open up for some bands when you first started out?
Yeah, so that was like a big bucket list thing for us, because like I'm still just a music fan. So like getting to hang out with people that were heroes to me musically, like musicians that I love are like superheroes.
Yeah.
But they're real life, you know? And so if you run into them somewhere, you're like, oh my God, there's Superman. There's, you know, whatever it is. So for me, that was some of the craziest milestones for me when we started having success and going, is like, we're just chilling with our heroes, you know, and playing on stage with them. And then you get to be friends with them. And then that's even more weird. It's like,
that's weird.
Somehow appear with it. But then you realize that they're just normal dudes too. And then it's like, and the greatest ones are always the coolest ones, man. They're always just like down to earth and,
really?
And cool. Yeah.
Like I know you guys had this song about Jimmy that was kind of in the Jimmy Buffett vein recently, you know? Did you have a relationship with him ever?
Yeah, I was good friends with Jimmy. He was a mentor for me, and he was incredible, you know. And I've had him on some of my songs too. We had a song Knee Deep, and he was on the same boat. We did a version of that with him just a few years ago. But there aren't many people that I could call and ask certain questions to that could give you like a real answer to that question. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's like your friends that are big stand-up comedians and people like that understand the lifestyle that you live, that have done it on such a big level and built an amazing brand. You know, we did Crossroads with Buffett too when
that's sweet.
We first got going. But yeah, Jimmy was, here's the kind of guy Jimmy was. One of my buddies was trespassing on his property fishing, standing on the rocks on the back of his place in Key West fishing on the thing. Jimmy saw him out there. They're like watching a game inside or something. Jimmy walks outside to where the guy is and says, you need this kind of lure. Gave him a lure and is like, and you need to throw it over there. And then he went back in his house. So he didn't kick the guy out for fishing in the back of his yard. He's like, let me help you succeed at what you're trying to do, even though you're trespassing on my place. Because the guy wasn't there trying to like mess with him, you know what I mean? But that's a good example of Jimmy and his spirit, man. He was such a baller. And dude, in the 70s, dude, he was a gangster, bro.
Really?
Gangster. Like, flying drugs from Cuba and fucking had operations, flying shit in his plane.
I wish I could do it.
Dude, Mac McAnally told me a story. They were flying, I think he said from Jamaica or somewhere, and they didn't have a seat in the plane for one of the roadies, right? So they gave him an 8-ball in trade for letting him ride where the luggage was, because they were just flying a couple hours to get to where they needed to go, but they needed to get him there. And they ended up picking up somebody else that needed to sit inside. So they're like, look, bro, if you ride where the luggage is, man, here's an 8-ball.
Yeah. If you'll sit back over here with this Samsonite.
Yeah. So he's in the cargo bay, right? So the plane takes off and the dude's cruising in there, but they didn't tell that dude. They had to land real quick to clear security. So the plane takes off and then it lands again like in 20 minutes, right? And then he's looking out the crack in the fucking door because he's in the luggage bay. Right. And he sees dudes walking with fucking machine guns and shit outside. Oh. So the dude's like, fuck, they're going to catch me with these fucking drugs in here. So the dude just toots the whole fucking bag.
Sorry, dude. God,
snorts the whole fucking 8-ball, eats it, whatever he does, fucking down the hatch, bro. And then the plane
Did anybody do that?
And then the plane takes off again, and it's in the air for like an hour and a half, right? And Max said when they landed, dude, and they opened this luggage compartment, that this dude crawled out of there and he looked like a bruised banana. This dude had been fucking tweaking in there, getting bashed by roller suitcases and shit. You know, not a lot of oxygen or whatever.
Like a true nature's child. We were born to be wild. Pull up that TikTok of that bear getting out of that, coming out of hibernation, dude. You seen this deal? This bear, I think, has just got out of hibernation. Beautiful animal. I mean, this homie just rolled.
He's like Ron White getting up after
Yeah, dude, that looks like Ron White after some good ayahuasca, homie. God dang, he just lost a sideburn right there, shaking it out, man. God, dude, that's fun, man. That's fun, bro.
Stories, man.
That's a great story.
And one of my buddies, his dad went to prison for a long time helping with one of those operations that he had. And so for 20 years, Jimmy raised him. And so, and then he ended up being like the artist that made all the stuff in the Margaritavilles, like built the planes that were crashed into the things, painted it all, did it or whatever. Like, that whole, like, there's a world in Key West that Jimmy was, you know, responsible for. And once you know the local people there and you know the people, like, it's such an extraordinary thing. And so when I heard that Jimmy was about to pass and his main guy had texted me and said he's about to exit the stage, that hit me hard, because I realized, like, all of his crew, all of his family, all of his business, everything, there was this hole that was there. And it hit me hard, man. I was at home and it was like midnight or something. And I got up and I had to walk around and I just started writing. I just had to write. I had to, like, because I felt that hole, you know. If something happens to me, there's a lot of families that depend on me to be solid and me to be there. And then without me there, there's all of these things that are necessary. I can't do it without them, but they can't do it without me the way that it is, the way that it's set up. So It's like, man, I just felt this hole there. And that's when I was writing about it all, and ended up meeting up some other guys that had started a tune, and we wrote this last one called Pirates and Parrots, but that's about Jimmy. That's about, you know, saying goodbye to him and what he created. But
yeah, I was listening to this yesterday. Wow, man. Yeah, it's that's so crazy to have one of your heroes become a friend and then they are gone. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Life gets scary to me like that.
Every day is precious, man. That's why it's hard to, like, sacrifice. Like, the people you keep in your circle is, like, directly reflects and results in, like, whether you're successful or where you're going and what you're doing. Because if you just hang out with this dude because you used to, you know, shoot natural light together and whatever because of this thing, it's like you're not hanging out with expanders. You know what I mean? Like, being around people that are expanders and that you fucking share energy with and you can lift each other up. Everybody has hard times, but, like, that directly results in your success. And as you trim that circle down and keep it tight with people that you just, you know, you resonate, that it's like-minded. Like, keeping like-minded people around you is, like, directly related to your success. Because you hang out with sick people, you're going to get sick. Or you hang out with people that aren't motivated.
Where'd you learn that lesson? Did you learn that lesson, or was it something that you always kind of had?
I learned that lesson, dude. Everything I've ever learned, I learned the hard way, bro. Punching myself in the face the whole way doing it, man. And then finally, like, oh wow, maybe I shouldn't punch myself in the face anymore, you know. And but I'm a curious person, man. I'm always curious, like, how things work, how things operate. Like, you know, I brought some knives actually for you. Last time I gave you a little one, right?
Yeah, you did, man. We got it
kind of one for the yard.
Oh my god,
as well. But making things and, like, you know, finding the rabbit hole, man, finding something that there's always another level of, you know, and figuring out how to.
Oh my!
So you just push with your thumb to pull that thing out. It kind of locks in right there. That little tab, just push that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I have a knife company called Southern Grind. It's all production knives, but that's kind of like the replacement for a hatchet or, you know, cutting limbs and things like that, or you know, whatever. Somebody reaches in your car trying to carjack you too. Yeah, whatever you need to use it for.
A little bit of finger sashimi, homie.
That's right.
I'll freaking take a knuckle off of some little cat if he's trying to get my watch.
That's right.
Wow, this is you have a company that makes these.
Yeah, Southern Grind.
This is a real knife?
Oh yeah, it's sharp.
Ooh yeah, boy.
Those also throw really well too. If you like to throw knives,
dude. One thing at a time, man. I just got a hold of this thing. I have to register this online. Yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, man.
This is really cool. You know, one thing else that I got really nice one time, not to take your gift and talk about another one. John Popper one time gave me a harmonica. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Did he leave some grease in it? Had he been sucking on it?
It looked like it had a little bit of work done on it. You know? Like it had a little bit of lung left in it.
That dude killed on the harmonica, bro. He was so good.
Yeah, he was so good. But wow, to say that I have that in Zac Brown's knife. Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I guess I can use it in the yard. I just got a couple of bird houses. So I'm sure that nature is going to be flaring up back there a little bit more. What do you consider success now? Like, what's the kind of your view of success? You've gotten to have a lot of, like, commercial success, you know? Like, what do you think about success?
Man, my first main thing is my family, man. My kids, you know, just showing up and being there for them. I get them half the time, and I'm a husband, so I live 10 minutes away from their mom, and we just rock co-parenting together. And But when I have my kids, man, and it's a great thing. It's just like humbling and whatever, because I'm basically like the house bitch when I'm home, man. I'm there to help, like take them to school and, you know, pick them up and hang with them. And I just, that's my first priority, is making sure that the time I have with them is like the greatest that it can be. So that's half my life. And the other half is like, I tour, I adventure, I spearfish, you know, I bow hunt. I do things that really fulfill me, but it's really about just being out in the wild, because that's what refills my cup, man. That's what makes me feel like, if I'm doing something that's so engaging with me that I have to, there's no other chatter, you know, I don't have any noise that's happening or whatever. So success for me means like obviously being there for my kids, and then trying to be creative, trying to still write good songs, trying to take care of myself, take care of my body. Like I want to be able to do that stuff when I'm super old, you know. Investing in it, like being a little uncomfortable every day will save you from being uncomfortable and miserable your whole life, from being all bound up and not feeling good. So
yeah, I did yoga today. I didn't want to. God, I didn't want to, but I did.
But that's what it takes, man. But you know how you feel, and you kind of get momentum in those areas where you feel good. Yep. So anything that I can do, I work with an amazing like regenerative medicine doctor, and he's got me on a good like peptide regimen. I take NAD. I do a IV every month with exosomes in it, which is like
really. Oh, wait, were you telling me about this?
I think so. Yeah.
Were you telling me
so
about
basically,
exosomes?
Stem cells create exosomes when they're like go to an area to heal things. But they have.
Oh, it helped your shoulder. Were you telling me that?
Yeah, completely healed my shoulders up. Getting some stem cells and getting things like that. Like, you know, there's a lot of controversy around stuff like that for people, but you know, you can't argue with results, you know, and you find people that you can trust and they're like, hey, I think you should try this. So,
exosomes are extracellular vesicles generated by all cells, and they carry nucleic acids, proteins, lipids, and metabolites. They are mediators of near and long distance intercellular communication in health and disease, and affect various aspects of cell biology. So I don't know what that means.
So keeping your cells really healthy. And dude, I've noticed for my voice, like once a month I get an IV, they draw blood, they do testing on me and stuff, and then they give me about 6 vials of those little exosomes, man. And dude, that thing, it's like.
And what can you eat? You can't put them in like a vape pen or something, can you?
You can put them in a nebulizer, actually, and you can inhale them in a nebulizer form that way for your voice. But you getting them this way has made my voice stronger, man. So I just want to be able, when I'm like 80 years old, dude, I don't want to look like I'm 80, man. I want to feel good. I want to be able to run up and down mountains. I want to be able to pole vault, you know, just the things that are, you know, that normal 80-year-old people can't do.
Yeah. I love that, man. Now that's a good definition of success, you know, being able to spend time with your kids, being able to still be active and do the things that you want to do, you know. I think it seems like a really good definition to me. Oh, tell me about this. So one thing I'm thinking, why do sometimes bands do covers and sometimes they don't? Some of this may seem like novice level questions to you, but I just am curious about that. Because sometimes audience members are like, do a couple more, you know? But then sometimes they're like, oh, that's too many.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I love other people's music so much that when we get to like reinterpret it and do it our way, like I love every show that we play, we're going to play 3 or 4 cover songs at least, you know, because it's kind of like tipping the hat to people that you really love and does something. And also you can read the crowd, man. When you start playing it, you start a good cover and they know it's coming and they start going crazy. Like I love that, but I love trying to do it in a different way, like trying to figure out some way to like make it special, make it your own. And I think that comes from me just being a music fan. It's like, you know, I got 3 hours to keep these people engaged. Like what can I do mixed in with our songs that are going to make it like the best night possible, you know? And so every time we come to a city, we have new covers that we worked up to do so we don't get the same show twice. Yeah. You know, it's competitive, man. It's like if people are going to buy our ticket and the next time we come buy our ticket again, you can't be half drunk on stage. You can't be, you know, slurring and whatever. It's just a waste. It's like you don't respect those people enough to give them everything you got. So for us, it's like we're like athletes. Like we go after it like we're going to be ready, bro. We're going to come back and we're going to give them every inch, you know, even if it's 2. Yeah. If that's all you got, man.
Hey, that's a lot in some regions, you know, fruit by the foot. Do you have to ask another band before you play their cover or not?
No. Once the song's released, you can cover it, record it. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
But sometimes we'll get hit by those people. They're like, I heard this cover. Like James Taylor sent me a text and was like, we did Sweet Baby James, and he sent me like a text and was like, great job on, Sweet Baby James. But he talks in license plate things. So he'll text you like 9 letters, and if you read them, it sounds like a sentence. Mm-hmm. So he texts me like that, and it's like it takes me a while to figure out what he's saying, because he talks in license plate letters sometimes.
Oh, he does?
Yeah,
and just like acronyms or something.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's like be as you are, be as you are, or URNNML, like you're an animal.
Oh, wow.
Like those kind of things. And it's kind of a thing he does. And then he told me that he has a song. He has a song called Be As You Are. And literally the whole sentence of the chorus is all a license plate thing.
Wow.
So
they just had, did you see that song that what's that guy's name? Korean dictator Ho Chung? Oh, Kim Jong-un released this song, Friendly Father.
It's really him?
About how he is great and a friendly leader. Yep.
Exactly like Naomi Park talked about, bro. Everybody's happy and having a good time. If they didn't throw those flowers up in the air right, they were going to definitely cut all their legs off, bro.
Well, you kind of wonder. Show a little bit more of the video first, brother. It seems like, I want to say this, from the video, it seemed like they're having a great time.
There's alligators underneath her all around her.
Just looking right at the lady. I'm going to read some of the lyrics. There's one awesome part where he hugs a couple of children. Hold on, if you can get to that. And it's just so crazy.
And I don't know firsthand. I'm just by what I've heard.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? I don't know, so I don't want to be getting hit up by,
Look, I think it's safe to say the guy's kind of a risky landlord. Okay, I think that's safe to say. There's a part, there it is, right there. Just a lot of it, there's him with a lot of children. And the song is called...
Was she breastfeeding right there?
He could have been. The song is called Friendly Father. He definitely has a bit of a her-him... He definitely has a bit of a her-they vibe, I feel like. He goes, let's sing about Kim Jong-un. These are the lyrics. Our great leader. Let's boast about Kim Jong-un, our friendly father. Warm-hearted like your mother, benevolent like your father. He is holding his 10 million children in his arms.
Is he holding 10 million children in his arms, or he's holding 10 million children's arms?
I don't know. That's a good question. Wow, that's so kooky. Could you imagine being in a place where you just have to, it's almost like Disney World probably, but where you're just like.
Yeah, but as soon as that scene's over, you got to go back to real life, man. You got to go back to what it's really like.
I want to go for that. I want him to come on the podcast so bad. He's probably one of the top guests.
I would love to hear that.
It'd be wonderful. I would love to see, because he could be doing a great job. It's like, we don't know. A lot of what we see is intel. A lot of what we see is bad AI.
This reminds me of the Naked Gun. It's like,
remember that? Naked Gun was so good. Remember how good Naked Gun was?
It's funny when you go back and watch those things and you remember. It's not exactly as you remember it now, but it's still.
They're horrible now. A lot of them are. You talked about fitness, man. Yeah, when I look at even just pictures of there from when you had your first band, what was it called?
Far From Einstein.
Far From Einstein. To now you have your fitness is more fitness now.
And that's really just in the last probably 5 or 6 years, man. Just really trying to dial myself in, man. I'm trying to be, after I went through my divorce was like the darkest, craziest time ever for me.
Was it really?
Just because.
Did you want to get divorced or not?
I did.
Sorry if it's an uncomfortable question. You don't have to answer it.
I did, but it was one of those things I didn't want to. It's one of those weird things as a man where you feel like you can't leave and you can't stay. And you can't, because of pressure and things that you put on yourself. Like the kids don't know what it means. You know what I mean? Like they don't know. The kids don't know what it means that you're getting a divorce. That kids. Whatever it is, yeah. And
it's horrible.
Yeah, that part. And so knowing that it's leaving the wake of those type of things, but knowing whatever. But I had a couple friends of mine that had taken their own lives. And it made me realize, like, that ain't ever going to be me, man. I got
caught in that space of not knowing what to do?
Well, yeah, and whatever was eating at them, that they couldn't face it enough to, like, get out of the situation, regardless of whatever judgment it may cause, regardless of whatever it is, man. So for me, that was like a sign that I saw of, like, okay, I got to get out of this or whatever. But the place that it put me in, and even my own choices through the last few years of it, like before that happened and things like that, like just darkness and coming out of it and feeling like, you know, I can't be like this anymore. And it was weird because I'm not one of those people that goes and like gets my cards read and shit like that. But I ended up getting my cards read at some lady in LA, like some older lady who read my cards and was like, showed me a picture. And it was like, it was a card that had like a nice house and a lawn and like kids running around. It's like, this is what your life looks like from the outside to other people. But that's really not what it is. And if you don't get out of this, you're going to get a serious physical illness and you're going to die. So if you don't, and I felt that because I'd carried around all this weight and guilt and shame and shit. Like it felt like someone was squeezing my heart, like a hand was around it, like physically felt like it was clamped down on. And I could feel that. And I was just, so I came out of that and just like, whatever it takes to get to the other side of this river that I'm in right now, that's just beating my ass right now, I got to keep swimming. I got to get to the other side of it. And then I got to figure out what's going on with me. Like, what do I need to do to be there solid for my kids and to be there for their mom and like to provide and to be able to do those things? Like, what can I do to try to get myself on track where I feel like find myself again? Because I think in the middle of it, in the middle of the codependency around all of it, I lost who I was around all of the stress that was around that and all the businesses and all the other shit. It was literally like just taking fire from all sides. So coming out of that,
it sounds exhausting. Even listen, I mean, even just, I can't even, it sounds like a lot.
It's hard, man. And it takes a lot of grace, but you find out who in your circle like is really there for you and who really wasn't there, but was around. And but coming out of that, man, I was like, and I quit drinking the year before I actually got divorced, just to be clear. You know, I wanted to be clear and know exactly what was going on, like, and see the thing. So that was, 6.5 years ago, and I had to get clear and I had to see the pattern and see what was going on. And I realized that it wasn't going to work. And like, the only way out of this is through it. So just go through it and do it.
Was it hard to go through it? Is it hard to go through something like that with grace? Like, how do you do it and best honor your partner, like your spouse and stuff in it? Because it sounds like that was something you took into consideration.
Yeah, you have to.
Or tried your best.
I just had to ask her, what do you want? What, obviously other than us not, getting along, like, what do you need? And just what she asked for, I gave her and just did my best to try to do that. And it's taken time to heal the relationship and things. And she's an amazing lady, and I'm blessed to have her as the person that, that helps raise our kids and to have that like a solid human to be there to help me to do that. And, I'm grateful. I mean, I'm grateful for everything. Like in the rear view, everything hard that's happened is like served us somehow. It's just really hard to see it at the time. Mm-hmm. But I came out of that phase of my life, like wanting, okay, what can I do to make myself be better, feel better? I did like 3 years of plant medicine journeys. I did,
Oh, did you?
Lots of therapy. I anything that I could do to try to just like shed these feelings, shed this like weight that I carried around and like reprogram my belief system, reprogram myself so that I could be present. And so I could find my love for myself and for my creativity and for these things again. So that's been the last 6 years.
Wow. Where did you go try plant medicine at? Did you go to other country?
I did. I've done it in different places.
What's something you learned from it? That might be a better question.
Yeah.
Because I've done it a few times and I've learned some pretty cool stuff or things that have been helpful for me.
I hired a life coach and I worked with her for 6 months, like intensively. And, she incorporated the plant medicine into our program. So because I'd had some experience with those things before, it wasn't just a normal thing. We started off the 6 months, like day 2 of doing it with a psilocybin journey. And It was the most transformative of anything that I've ever done. And it was like a hero's dose, like 7 grams.
Of like
good
all
stuff
aboard, huh?
And like an hour into that, I was like seated in a chair and I had to revisit lots of things and I had to breathe my way through a lot of things because there's like subconsciously there's things. What was the most amazing to me is the intelligence that exists that the psilocybin has finding our trauma, because it found it, bro. It found it and like subconsciously working through pulling that stuff out. Like there's moments where it sucks and you got to breathe through it and you got to take and stay in gratitude. Like if you're in a mental space where you're ready to accept whatever it shows you, like good, bad, or ugly, whatever it is, and stay in gratitude, even for like the painful parts of it, then you can stay in gratitude. If you're mentally in a place to do it, I think it's the most transformative thing that I've ever done.
Yeah.
After that journey, it was like 5 hours long. And I came out of that with more gratitude than I could hold in my face, dude. Like tears rolling out of my face. And I had visited like my children being born again. And I had seen, but I had that bowling ball that I carried around in my chest and in my gut after that 5 hours, that whole like 40-pound ball of shit was gone.
Really?
It was gone. And it hasn't been there since then.
Man, I got to do something.
It was the most transformative out of everything that I've done. I've done Cambo as well. The toad,
have you? You've done toad
as
venom?
well, and that's like 20. You're not smoking it, but like they burn you with the vine that comes from the area, and then they put you mix your saliva with the venom and put it on, and it makes, as soon as they put that on, bro, your hands feel like they're vibrating like the fastest you ever felt anything in your life. Like the minute it touches, it's like. And then that's only lasts like 20 minutes. So you can like breathe through the uncomfortable part of that, but that's like a spiritual and, physical detox as well.
Yeah, baby.
And then I went to Peru and I did a ayahuasca journey in Peru for 10 days, a dieta.
God, 10 days.
So
man.
Every second day you would take the medicine and you're out in the jungle and being
who
connected.
Was out there with you?
I took one of my boys, Jake, one of my best friends. You met him the other day. He was on the plane.
Oh, yeah.
Jake Nodar.
I did meet him. I got to set him up with Chelsea Lynn about doing some cool.
Dude, Jake's one of the funniest, the most amazing dudes that I know. He's just one of my favorite people. But he went with me, but you're isolated. So they put you in these tambos. So you're by this river, like big muddy river, and you're in the jungle. Yeah,
it doesn't sound like there's like a Hampton. It's not a Hampton Inn or anything.
You take a big boat up to a thing. Your car goes on a ferry across the river over the thing, and then you get in a boat like a panga, a long one where you're all lined up like 13 of you in a row with like your bag, and you go down, and then you get to this creek, and you turn it off the big river, and you go way up there, and then there's like this hut with a kitchen set up in it or whatever, and that's where the plants grow. That's where they come from.
And how many people are out there on that trip?
There were 16 people.
And is it kind of a pretty social group, or is it a lot of people that are like, I need some help, I'm out here?
No, they were pretty social, and we were the only people that had never done it before, because I didn't know this, but to do the dieta, which is like the 5
you got to have the
thing or whatever, they were like, well, how many times have you done it? And I was like, I've never done it. They're like, you chose this to come as your first thing. But I was open, man. I was in a place where I was just like, anything that's gonna help me heal, help me be better. Like let's face it, bro. Let's jump in. And living in this thing. So you basically have a little hut. It's about as big as this part of this roof right here. Mm-hmm. And then there's a hammock, and then there's a bed with a little mosquito net and a little desk, like a one chair and a desk.
Oh my gosh! And who's the desk for? Anybody, or it's just a?
No, it's just you. That's your spot.
Okay.
And about every like 300 yards down the river, there's another one. And so you have your own place. And so for 48 hours, you're just sitting in this thing chilling. I mean, you can get out and walk around the jungle, or
can you go talk to a neighbor, or you stay by yourself?
You don't talk to anyone until you gather every other day for the ceremonies at night.
Ooh.
So you're basically, and these people, I'll be like walking by, there's dudes in like full linen shirts and pants or whatever, meditating for like 8 hours a day, just sitting there, just like breathing it up or whatever. And I'm like, thank God I brought a guitar, because there's no phones. You can't use toothpaste. You can't use deodorant. You can't put any chemicals on your body. You can't eat any salt or sugar. You eat just what they give you. They give you a tea to drink. And you drink this tea. It kind of makes you sleepy, which was great, because I would just nap the day away. And then I napped the first day like super hard. And the second day I was like probably the most well-rested I've been in a long time. So then I couldn't really nap anymore. And then I was like trying to like figure out what the deal is. Cause I brought like some Lara bars, some stuff to like snack on, you know what I mean? And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be starving. But the lady told me on the way there, cause you take like a 3-hour cab ride, like in a bus to get there.
I'd bring some pistachios, I bet.
But you can't eat. You can't eat anything except what they give you. So she was like, do not break the contract. Like you're entering a contract. That's why they call it the diet, because you only consume the things that are from there. And like, so they give you a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast, nothing but just water and oats with like a bowl of potatoes stuck in it. And that's your breakfast.
Ooh.
And they bring your tea and then.
And what's in the potato? Anything, or it's just empty?
No, it's just empty. No salt, no sugar. You're drinking this tea they make you. They bring you like a little thing of tea. It's really red.
I would drink all of that. Foods right here to avoid before ayahuasca. And usually before ayahuasca, it's called the dieta. Please abstain from the following foods and activities. 2 weeks, it says. Pork, sexual activities. That's not a food. They snuck it in there. Alcohol, marijuana, all street drugs, spicy foods, and ice cream. That's
ice.
Or ice too. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So you're basically going and just like getting rid of everything extra in your body.
Refined sugars. Sorry, Zach. Red meat, junk food of any kind, salt and pepper. So you can't even listen to Push It, that song. Oils, animal fats, carbonated and fermented drinks, dairy products, fermented foods, caffeine, and other stimulants. Oh my God, dude, what the hell?
You can
have like breast milk.
You can have water, basically, yeah.
Oh. So you're out there and you brought your guitar. Now, is your guitar bothering the neighbors? Or you get any noise complaints?
You're not close enough to hear anyone. Not. You're far enough away, and you're basically isolated. And the more that
you write stuff down?
Yeah, I had a journal.
God. Thank God.
I had a journal.
Isn't it crazy how a journal becomes your friend? I remember when I was on ayahuasca, I reminded myself how much I even used to like to write. It's like, I forgot I used to love to write. Yeah. You just don't do it that much anymore, That's true. And it's like, man, I just really loved it.
Yeah.
So you were out there for that long?
Yeah, so here's what happened. So the first couple ceremonies were like positive ones. The third ceremony, it was the hard one, like the death of ego one, where you're just like, and I didn't know you're supposed to interact with this being or this thing that you're experiencing when you're in there. The people didn't tell me this till after that night, because I was like, it just beat my ass, the whole thing. But something weird that happened, my dad like appeared in one of my visions I was having, and I went to put my hand on his shoulder and he vanished, and I had this like weird feeling like something was wrong. So we get through the ceremony that night. It was a tough one. I spend the night. I get up first thing in the morning and I'm thinking something's wrong with my dad. So I hike out in the river, which is muddy, and I'd been getting a bucket. They give you leaves that smell a little bit like garlic that you in a bucket. So you take the bucket and get some water.
Them or not?
No, but you use them as like soap.
Okay.
You scrunch them up, and then you smell like body odor and garlic at the same time. I remember one night I was doing the ceremony and I had a tank top on. Bad idea. And I remember putting my arms over my head and just smelling that garlic and shit and my body odor too, because you didn't wear deodorant, at all.
Forget about it. I've been at the gym,
It was awful.
Yeah.
Awful. But in that, that river, so I went out in that river and I brought my sat phone with me, which I always have whenever I'm out in the woods or wild or whatever, in case she gets stranded somewhere. So I go out in the river and I call my daughter, and she picked up and she said, the first thing she said to me was, "Did you hear about Papa?" And my dad had just been put in the hospital. But what's weird is the medicine told me that night. So I ended up having to like call my pilots and get them to relocate. So I didn't make it for the last 2 ceremonies, but I made it like 7 days into the journey. But it was good that I made it to my dad, because he needed to eat some good stuff and needed to like get back. They had botched a catheter going in, so he had like blood clots that kept him from going to the bathroom, and like little mountain hospitals, bro, where they put like, hog maws on stuff when they get hurt.
In Georgia?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, it can get really rural. A lot of people
just rub some cracklings on that.
Yeah, people think whispering behind your back just will cure you of something, people think gossip helps cancer or whatever. Because you'll see people out there with signs, gossip for cancer, and you're like, that ain't gonna save nobody in this small town. That's a dang lie, dude. Yeah. Bro, but the power of that kind of stuff, of being under that medicine, and the things you hear and learn and the moments you have, it shows you a connection in the universe that's almost It's unbelievable. Just that the universe knows what's going on so much. Dude, even to go back to cicadas. So cicadas, right? They get born, the parents meet. The sound you hear is the males, right? Like, you know, is a males, and they're trying to get sex. I won't say it. And then they get with the ladies. Then the eggs, the lady has them and puts them in a tree, makes a little slit in trees, puts them in there. Then after a certain number of weeks, they fall out of the tree into the ground. They turn into nymphs or something, I think it's called, or lymphs. You find that for me? Turn into nymphs. They fall to the ground and go into the soil, and they stay in the soil for 13 or 17 years. And then after that amount of years, when spring comes and it hits 64 degrees, they bloom and come out. So
that's why all their buddies that eat a lot of dirt when they're little, bro, they could be eating this cicadas, and they're just making a village in there somewhere where you don't even know what's going on.
Oh, definitely. I think you definitely want to get their, I would probably get their BMs tested, to be honest. I would test their bowels. But just unbelievable. Just to think the things that, like, that's what I learned from ayahuasca was, wow, there's some connection going on that is beyond.
I think it's because we're so void of it. Same thing as the 72 degrees thing. Like, we're made to be interacting with the earth. We're made to be digging up stuff out of the dirt and pulling things out of the ground and getting scratched up and being out in the wild. And because we're so void of that, we lose our connection to nature and those things. Like, I resonate a lot with like Native American theology around, like the nature being what they called God or whatever. Like, that's where I find church for me is out in the wild.
Yeah.
Because seeing the sunrises and sunsets in a hard rain or a storm or in the ocean, like those things for me, and we're so void of nature, everything around. It's like we have things that look like nature, but it's really not. But we're not interacting with the earth, and we're not having to adapt to the environment and figure out things. And because of that void, then we're left without that connection, right? We don't have a connection. But I believe the Native Americans had that connection because that's where they were living, and that's where they got their food. I have some friends that are Native that do sweat lodges. This guy Tom Blue Wolf's incredible. If you ever done a sweat lodge, dude, you should go to Georgia, do a sweat lodge with him. It's unbelievable.
You've done it before?
Unbelievable. I've done it several times. Yes, he is amazing. But the way he sees the world and talks about it and whatever, he's like, if you're living a good life, then the food shows up. Deer will show up. Things will happen where life provides for you if you're living a good life.
Wow,
that's him. But that's his sweat lodge right there. That's in Talking Rock, Georgia. That's not far from where I grew up. But it's not like there's no hallucinogenics or anything like that. But you're just going in this hut and sitting on the floor, and they're bringing in these rocks that they heat up. They only use them one time, and they bring them in like they have a huge fire out front, and a guy's tending the fire. They have a fire keeper, and these huge river rocks. They heat them up, and these things are like glowing orange, right? And before you go in, you sit and you make your intentions, and they give you little pouches, little things of tobacco and little pieces of fabric, and you put your intentions in there because the natives believe that tobacco is where your memories are held. Like the Great Spirit remembers whatever was put into tobacco. So like if someone dies, they take tobacco and they float it out into the river in remembrance of that person or whatever. But that was the plant for them that they smoked as a ceremonial thing for memories. So you put your intentions in there, put your intentions in, and you take your intentions into the thing with you, and you sit there, you're like on a cold, sandy, ground, and they bring them, they call the rocks grandfathers. So they take a shovel and they lift this thing out, and it's dark in there, and they bring it in and set it in, and he takes Palo Santo and like sprinkles it on there, and it looks like a constellation, like almost inside there, and the smell of it. And then he has sweetgrass, he brushes it with that and smells it, and so you say, welcome, grandfather, when they bring the stone in. It's like your ancestors basically coming in. And so they get a pile of grandfathers, and then he closes the thing, and he's got a drum, and he starts chanting, and then he'll take water and pour it on there. It's just like being in a sauna.
Yeah.
So you're in there, and it gets hot. And
I love those.
And then he opens it again, and then he brings in more grandfathers. So by the end, by like round 4 or 5, bro, there's a lot of grandfathers in there, dude. And it's like it's so hot that some people have to like lay down close to the ground to keep from doing it.
It's like a VFW, yeah. You're like, whoa.
But if you sit there and through the ceremony, as it gets hotter and hotter and hotter, you'll start seeing things. You'll start seeing visions and seeing shapes and seeing things like that. And you purge, you're just sweating, man, sweating everything out. But he's leading you. You know, that was this thing I would say about plant medicine. Like, if you have somebody that's intentionally guiding you, taking you on the journey, and they know what they're doing, you're going to have an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So it's not just, you know, let's go see fish and eat a sack full of mushrooms. Like there's nothing, I mean, nothing wrong with that if people want to do it, but it's a different intention, right?
100%. I've had 2 experiences. I've had one where a guy was a good shaman and led us. I've had another one where a guy played like Ed Sheeran for 3 hours, you know, and it was like still fun, little different, you know? I've had one where they made like a real altar in the middle with all these different deities and candles and everything. I've been to one where they just lit one candle in the middle of this dark room. And at first you're like, that's never going to light this room. But by like the second day, you're like, it's like all the light you need. Like you slowly adapt to how much light you have. And you're just like, oh, that's everything we have is right there, you know? Yeah. But yeah, so definitely the ambiance, and if you have a shaman like leading you, it can be
and the sound. The life coach is like managing the sound and playing music and playing different like drums or things that help to do that. So if there's intention behind it and you're doing it for healing, but I would say out of the things that I have done, the guided psilocybin journey for me was unbelievable, dude. Wow. I can't explain how much that helped me to let go of things, but they have an intelligence. They're going to go in and find it. Ayahuasca felt a little more like chaotic, almost like I'm trying to figure out what it's trying to, and it showed me some things that were very like, it showed me that at one point I was like hugging myself, and I was and I didn't realize that I'm separate from my mind, right? My mind and my spirit is a separate thing than my body, right? Our body is our own company, but I never thought about it that way because I'm like, I'm by myself.
Right.
But then I never really relied on just being alone is okay because you have yourself, you have your body. You can actually, you know, like I hugged myself and I was like, it felt like I was holding another person. And I was like, wait a minute, I am my own person. Like, I know that sounds weird.
No,
but it's
like, it's I know what you're talking about. It's like realizing that you have yourself.
Yes. Because I'm so cerebral, always thinking about stuff. I don't think like my body's something different than that. It's just kind of waiting on me to tell it what to do, you know?
No, it's powerful, man. I'm really glad you said that. It's just such an important thing to realize. Yeah, because sometimes I'm thinking like, I got to do this, I got to do that. I need somebody else. I need some help. I forget that I can be there for myself. Yeah. I have myself.
Yes.
You know, and to have a really strong moment like that is pretty powerful. But that's interesting that it's a little more chaotic. That mushrooms would be a better that a psilocybin
showed me everything hard, every weird betrayal, every beautiful thing. It started with the hard things, and you just got to be. If you're ready, like if you're open and you're ready, I think it can be the most transformative thing that you've ever done. Because we sock away shit all the time. We just stuff stuff under the rug, man. You know, the kid that stole the baby Ruth from you, you know, or pushed you off your bike. You know what I mean? You don't even think about that until you get put back on, you know, I don't know. That to me was the most transformative of everything that I did. So if somebody was going to do it, for whatever it matters, for what I think that's the one to start with, and have someone that's really great and make sure they know where they're getting it from and what's happening, and having a guide to do it. Because since I've been better for myself and for my family and for everyone since I did it, and so I don't care what other people really think about the idea of doing it as much as I do a result. If somebody's doing something and you get a good result from it and it helps, I'm in.
Yeah, amen to that, man. What's your fitness regimen like? You got a good regimen? Because you see guys, it's like do 40 like walrus tusks or whatever, do 7 like salami bridges or whatever, do 2 ex-wives. I saw somebody just wrote that. Some guy wrote that on the board. It's like, that's just personal information there, dude. You're just writing stuff in there, you know. Do 50, you know, it was like do 50 like ball, you know, bareback. ball warriors or whatever. It's like they're always the great. Like, what are we fucking doing,
man? Like,
is anybody in shape? Is everybody? Am I a Harlem Globetrotter now? Like, what are we now?
My trainer that I've got now is all about taking care of your joint mobility, stretching, making all the little muscles strong so that you have your stability, so you don't get hurt doing other things. So I'd say 80% of my workouts is stretching, foam rolling, posture balls, lacrosse balls, TRX bands, like stretching with them, not even like working out on them.
Really?
And he started with that for me. I'm only like close to 4 months in with him. And his wife's is a gold medal Olympic swimmer. And she's a nutritionist. So she tells him what to eat. He tells him what to do. And he sends me a sushi menu. But he was with the NFL for 18 years. And I'm actually working on a project. I did a cookbook a long time ago that was just about soul food because I love to cook and stuff like that. But I'm working with them on creating a new book that's basically on just how to be well, how to feel good, how to be able to move good, how to do those things. So his name's Luke Richardson, and he was NFL strength coach for 18 years, like was with the Broncos when they went to, won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. He was the one in charge of their strength and flexibility and all the things through these times. But he's gotten to work with the best.
Luke is his name?
Luke. The best physical therapist in the NFL for 20 years. He's worked with him, so he knows what to do.
Yeah.
But it's like when you finally, it's just like the same thing with my life coach. Like she took me on the guided psilocybin journey, transformational. Same thing with him. He's taken me on what he learned through all of that to help me to get my body feeling good and where, I'm looking the way that I want to look and I'm getting myself healthy and in my range of motion, because gravity will whip our ass as we get old.
Oh yeah, I feel
and people's
that.
diets, man, people make themselves sick with diets. I mean, type 2 diabetes is self-inflicted. It's like it's everywhere.
God, I hope it's not around here.
People, I feel bad for people that don't understand. So we're just trying to make like a Cliff Notes version for people of just like, here's a step toward like getting started. And here's like, you can try to make it as simple as we can. But then if you go on our app, like then you'll be able to figure out like, here's the rabbit hole of what it is and why and all these things.
Right, if you really want that deeper dive with information.
Yeah, so
you guys gonna have a cookbook and an app?
That's the goal.
Oh, that's
yeah.
swaggy,
We just
bro.
started working on it, but working with them like the last 3 months, dude. The first month I lost 30 pounds.
No.
30 pounds.
God.
And then my joints feel good. My back feels good.
You seem so. Yeah, you seem super present.
And a lot of that comes from diet too, man. I mean, even if you didn't do all the stuff I'm doing with Luke to work out, just getting your diet under, like the amount of inflammation you carry just eating boxed food and fast food and junk and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not that hard. You just have to follow it, and you got to be willing to just like do the work, man. Just like don't eat the shit you're not supposed to eat and do it. And then I carry like a snack bag. I got a bag here of shit that I can eat if in case I can't get something that I'm supposed to eat,
Yeah.
So. But it's all the beginning. Like, where do you begin? Like, if you want to feel better, where do you begin to start with? So that's what I want to do in the first like book app thing is like.
It's a good call. Yeah. Where do you begin? Especially as we age and we trying to figure out, looking at that second half of our lives and feel, how do we want to feel? How do we want to approach it?
Yeah.
What do we still want to be able to do? Because if we prepare ourselves now, we don't know what the future will allow for us.
Exactly.
If we show up with the best scenario, the best of ourselves to the future. We don't know if it meets you halfway.
Yeah.
Then who knows? The possibilities there, are squared practically. So
if you're in pain and you're hungover and you're whatever it is, man, the way you see life is different. I mean, after being sober, it's like the way that you see the world and you see yourself and all that changes, man. It just changes, and I
have to look at myself.
Yeah.
That's
and you have
the
to
thing.
live with yourself. You can't get away from yourself. You got to be there,
I know, dude. God, I wish I could just put myself on a dang shelf for a half hour. I would fucking just have a party if I could.
Yeah.
You said you're going to play the Sphere, man. I got to go to that, dude.
Yeah.
Man, still one of my favorite shows was you were doing I think it was a private event, I guess. It was at Jimmy John's summer camp.
Jack Pine.
At Jack Pine summer camp at Jack Pine Lodge over there. And man, and just seeing your whole band show up. Clay, yeah. Just you guys, this whole band and the energy, man. It was like, dude, it was exceptional. It was a fun time. That's what I felt like I had.
And I felt kind of bad because the night before I'd heard that like Vince Neil and Kid Rock had gotten in a fight or something.
Oh yeah, Kid Rock threw a shoe at Travis Tritt.
Oh, okay. I don't remember what happened, but I was like, damn, I missed that shit.
Which, hold on, I will say, was awesome. All right. But not as good as you guys' ensemble performance, dude. Yeah, I think Kid Rock was a little more kid than rock, I think, and he fucking just couldn't handle it. And he tossed that, he hummed a loafer at him. You know, and I see people do it all the time. You just can't handle anything. They just take a loafer off and just...
Yeah, those Weegians will hurt people too, man. They got that hard leather sole on them.
Oh, it was a damn Sperry, I think.
Those penny loafers, though. It was like it got an edge on them on the leather thing.
This thing was a Sperry. It was a Sperry, I think. Okay. It could have been a Land...
Sebago?
Yeah, it was something. It was pretty nice, I thought. But
I remember when a kid, like... When I learned how to tie the little, like, honeycomb thing on the end of my, like... On my Sebago, bro. Did you ever wear those?
No, pull them up, please, Sebagos, brother.
So you learn how to tie the knot, and it looks like a little honeycomb. So you don't have to tie your laces. You just have these two like little honeycombs on either side. But I remember feeling very accomplished as a kid when I could tie that knot. I could probably still do it if I had to.
I believe you could do it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I think I do know what you were talking about, dude. Oh, first of all, let me pull up the green, blue, brown one down there. If somebody had that on, dude, they were rich.
Looks like my buddy's beach house.
Yeah.
Like back in 1984 or some shit.
That dude was rich, bro. If he had them, bro.
Look at the salmon ones, bro. Salmon and gray, what is that?
Yeah, that dude he ain't eating at our house, dude. That guy's, we're eating at his house, bro. Oh. Dude, remember when you got a rich friend, you went over to their house, dude, and their mom was like home or whatever and fucking making something?
It wasn't ramen noodles.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
We got to get some help in our area. The Sphere, man, that's crazy. Have you been to a show at the Sphere yet?
Yes, I've been to... Just saw Fish there. Just saw U2 on opening night. Saw the movie there. Been going.
Oh, that's right. Whenever I talked to you, you had just taken your children to see.
Postcards.
You guys had seen. It was a nature film or something.
Yeah, it's the movie that they made for the Sphere to kind of show off what it is and what it does. They traveled the whole world with that 16K camera set up and filmed all over the world. Amazing though, but that's the greatest canvas that's ever been created, and it's so far, and to get to be one of the first bands that goes in there to do it. So this is our masterpiece, man. This is our chance to really show what we can do as a band and to get to
look at that, dude. Zach, that's crazy, bro. You guys are going to be in there? What if God comes back and picks it up and takes it home, dude? Then you win.
That's great. I'll fly away, bro.
Hey, well, look, dude, we'll miss you, and congrats. Those are the things I would say to you. That Fish show was unbelievable in there.
It was cool. And what they did conceptually is cool because they played 4-hour shows, 4 of them, and they didn't play the same song twice, or they didn't use the same content twice.
No way. Any of that content
none of that was
going on?
The same, but it's different. So they use it kind of as a big backdrop for what they were doing and for their shows, and their fans loved it and did it. I got some glimpses of what was fully possible with the building when U2 was there because they play the same show pretty much every night because you pay to create all this content and make it this like thing where they put you into something. But I've got a team put together for this thing, man, and it's gonna be the biggest spectacle we've ever done, and I'm very excited because this puts us in another league, and the goal is for our band to just keep going, man, to be like the Rolling Stones or like the Grateful Dead or
like
to
Jimmy
be like
Buffett.
in that, Jimmy Buffett, like be in that legacy acts thing. So this is really our first thing that I'm putting like a year plus of work into making one show.
Wow. It's going to only be one show?
No.
But
it'll be that show whenever people come,
right?
You know?
Yeah, because then if you go see it, then did it change your perspective on what you can even do with the background and everything?
That's why I'll see every show. Everyone that's playing there between now and us, I will be there to see it and see what they're doing, what's working, what's, could be better maybe from my perspective. And, but there's never been a venue created like that. When you're watching the sunrise in there and they have a wind generator, you feel the wind on your face and you're watching the sun come up. I mean, you feel like you're outside and you feel like you can't tell it's not real. And that's the first thing that's been created on that scale that's like that.
Oh my God. We have to do that in like homeless shelters or whatever, or like make it like
the nice, make a whole refrigerator box, bro, like 400 feet tall. Yeah. You're in the biggest Frigidaire box that's ever been made, dude. Yeah. And like fresh half sandwiches.
Oh, God. Just smell that chicken Caesar salad.
Yeah. I bet some secondhand Caesar would be pretty, I wonder how much soft lettuce they have to eat to stay on, bro.
And to stay street regular, as they call it.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I heard if you're homeless, if it rains, then it makes you have to go to the, like, do number 2 or whatever. I don't know why that is, but I think it's, your body just really becomes like street legal or whatever. But I don't know.
I wonder if you marinate in your own solution long enough, if that, like, somehow makes you more durable.
Oh, no, that's a great idea, I think. And that is something we got to explore as a community, okay? Yeah, we're not, dude. Well, look, I'll be honest. I urinate on my feet in the shower sometimes because I think it helps them out. Somebody told me that once.
Yeah, it's like a little ammonia splash, like a little clean, like Windex in your toes.
Yeah, dude. It's like, it's like if that guy came over to my car on the corner of a street and was like, hey, let me piss on your feet. I might be like, all right, dude, whatever this guy's got in him is probably been through a lot, gonna help me out, that clear coat.
Yeah. So my homie Neil Kamamura is a good friend of mine. He's a knife maker on Big Island.
But he didn't make this.
In Hawaii. No, that's made in our shop.
Okay.
But he's a hand maker. I've learned a lot about forging from him. He's one of my favorite knife makers on the planet, dude. Just awesome dude.
Neil what? What's his name? Let's bring up a picture of him. Neil Kamamura?
Yeah, he's half Japanese, half Hawaiian, and local, but he's incredible. But before he started making knives, he owned a pumping business, like pumping out grease traps, pumping out shit like that. So I think his immune system, dude, I'm pretty sure he could eat a turd and be okay because his business was crawling in these grease traps of like old food and stuff, pumping them out or whatever. Like whatever you subject yourself to, I figure like our physiology like somehow adapts to it and figures out how to like deal with it. But
this guy definitely. But dude, and there's a lot of delicacies over in that area of the world anyway.
Dude, he's one of my favorite knife makers, and he's taught me how to forge something. So now when I get done forging a knife, it looks like a knife coming off the anvil, and I don't have to just grind it into the shape of a knife. But that's one of my boys, man.
Dude, that's cool. I would like to meet that guy.
My Hawaii family.
He's a knife maker.
He makes the best. Yeah, there's like a 3-year waiting list to get his knives.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, Neil
Kamamura. Unbelievable chef too, man. Him and Flora. That's Flora right there. That's his baby mama, and she's a Brazilian chef. She's made some of the best stuff I've ever eaten in my life, dude. Amazing people. But yeah.
So you got this here. Do you guys know when this Sphere will be? Is it part of a new tour or anything, or how does that work?
So 2025. That's what we're doing for touring.
So 2025 will be the Sphere.
2025.
Oh, a residency.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Let's go. Congratulations, man.
Yeah. So I'm so excited, and I want to make something that people would not, if people don't know me and know like full like creatively what I'm capable of, but I've never had a place where I can fully utilize all that and pull favors from all of our incredible people that we know and everything, and just like pull something together to make something where it's like you go and see this thing and you leave there and you go, what just happened? Dang. So that's my baby. That's my dream. And it's happening. So now it's like we got to grind all the details, like every single thing, getting it right. Gonna film a 40-piece orchestra, bringing them in, recording all the parts with them, getting that made, and composed by the right person to help to make sure that's amazing. Film all of that, film the choir, film the things, be able to make it like Vegas too, where, you can have some acrobats and dancers and things like that at moments. But the concept and, part of what makes something great, like in movie or film or score or something like that, is when something really creates a lot of tension, when something makes you kind of feel like uncomfortable, like it's like, whoa, and then when that releases and it goes into like something that's really beautiful. So the juxtaposition of everything. So that's the goal. It's not just going to be like this American celebration thing or whatever. It's going to be making people uncomfortable, and then releasing that and having this series of this roller coaster. But
so really a journey. I mean, yeah, because some people, it would seem like you just put a dang eagle flying around for, exactly. For 2.5 hours if you wanted to.
Right.
If you wanted to in a cobbler, an eagle making a cobbler.
Yeah.
But
peach cobbler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank God for it too. I had it in Alabama for the first time. Couldn't believe it existed, right? Called my mom from a payphone, called her I won't say it, BITCH, for not telling me it existed.
Right.
I love peach cobbler. That's how much I love it. I hate that they kept it from me for so long. Because you could just do it. Because you could just do it like that if you wanted to, But yeah, I love the fact that you're a really creative guy, dude. It's inspiring. Sometimes I get caught in business sometimes and forget about the creativity.
Yeah, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. I'm just like a student of the world, man. I learned stuff by talking with you. Last time we hung out and got to sit and talk about it, and you're telling me about things that you're doing and what you're doing. Like, I think it's the key is like just staying curious, man, and learning from anyone that you can. Like, whatever, never feeling like you know everything, because it's not about that. It's about learning from each other, learning from each other's mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do meth for 10 days straight and stay up like for a couple months like you did that time. I don't want to do that. I want to, I want to sleep, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I want you to get a good night's rest, buddy. You have your family, you have your music, you have your creativity coming through. You have knife making. I know you guys have a wine company.
Yeah.
And what about what else keeps you busy? Like, what is there a part? What else is something that you're really passionate about?
Well, one of the things, I wouldn't say I'm a religious person. I started off that way and everything, but I'm definitely a spiritual person. And I think I was given my music for a greater purpose other than myself. I think I was given my music as a gift to be able to pull people together to do things. And so the greatest thing that I've done or been a part of helping to come together is Camp Southern Ground, the place that we built. And it's kind of like a university. Pull up a picture of it.
Thank you for telling him to do that too. I always have to be the one to tell the guy.
So when you tell people it's a camp, it's not what you would expect, right? Mm-hmm. So if you go,
look at a 4.8 on Google reviews.
If you go to images,
that's great. I've never even seen a 4.8.
So so first of all, what I feel like as the founder of this place, what I feel like I could do is to build a place and build the structures and everything where it's going to be there for like hundreds of years. So like the buildings are wrapped in a zinc envelope so that they don't naturally degrade. They're going to be there. That's the lodge, the third picture there. And so I spent 4 years working with a firm to create and design everything. And then now we're about 50% of the way through building the place. And it's really just a really super sturdy, amazing place to host things and do things. So one of the things we do, we have 9 weeks of summer camp, and it's an integration camp. So kids that are on the spectrum are in with
just like the one you went to.
Yeah, just like the one I went to. So borrowing
Zac,
from that,
dude.
And so 9 weeks of that, and then we do 34 weeks of veteran programs through the year. We just started our veteran family camps, which is 6 weeks of putting a veteran with their family as a unit and helping them to see each other as a unit. So when they get fractured, sacrificing everything that they've learned how to do and like been specialized in one thing, and then they're just like, oh, I don't need you anymore. And then they got to go back to a normal, sitting in a chair somewhere and whatever. It's like figuring out how to help them transition back home from that and having programs that help them, to help with PTSD, to help with things. We run the Warrior Path program, which is Bernie Marcus's thing, one of the founders of Home Depot. So we were like the first or second campus that was chosen to do this. But
but you've built all these buildings and stuff here.
Yeah. So it's more like a university, like style campus. But what we do there is we help people to learn how to treat each other, how to love each other, things that matter, help them to dream, help them to believe that they have potential to do things, help them to see the diversity that's around so they take that out into the world.
Yeah.
We help our veterans come back and help them to find purpose. We have a warrior song program where a lot of them don't want to talk to civilians about their story, but they'll write a song about it. So we put amazing songwriters in with the veterans, and they learn how to tell their story through a song. And then that's something they're willing to share. It kind of helps them to open up and do things. So 34 weeks of veteran programs, 9 weeks of children's programs. We host things there. Like Mercedes rents out our treehouse. That thing that looks like a space crab right there, that's the treehouse. And it's got it's open in the middle. It's got a table, a circle table that comes down out of the ceiling.
Oh my God.
And comes down. And so we put executives, that's where we do all of our vision development. So like for the summer camp, we bring in all the nutritionists, the best nutritionists around that we can find in the nation or around the world. We bring like 8 of the best nutritionists in. We sit around this round table. We talk and dream about what we need to feed the kids while they're there, so it makes them feel good, but it's accessible, so they'll eat it and things like that. And we got a 16-acre organic farm. We grow the food there. The kids learn how to pull stuff up out of the ground, how to plant things.
I love that kind of stuff. Radishes, I remember.
Yep.
We would do them. That's awesome, Zach. Dude, congratulations, man.
But it's not really, there's nothing about this place that's about me. This is, I feel like I owe this, and this is like a God thing for me, where I felt like I was given the music to help to create something bigger than myself. But it's, I was kind of here following orders, man. You follow orders, and if you make your life about something bigger than you, it's not just about all the shit you can have and being on a fucking mountain somewhere with all your shit. Like, then that's really where a meaningful life comes from, is helping other people and doing it. So we have an incredible campus at Camp Southern Ground to do that.
Wow. Do you go there each year?
Yeah, I spent a week. I lived there as a counselor this last summer, so I was sleeping in the bunks and there just like I used to do, and being there, and had kids that it's a little rough for some of the kids that are on the spectrum the first day, like trying to get through to them and help them feel comfortable and doing that. And I have just the leadership we have there and the people we have coming in. It's amazing. But we can help other people use their program there too. Like if you wanted to do a retreat there and bring people and have people come down, do team building, leadership, we feed you good, we put you up and take care of you, and our staff helps you to have whatever experience you want to have there.
Wow, so it's kind of like it's where people can rent out the play or organize their own function there.
Exactly. Wow. And we help to do that and pull it off without a hitch, taking care of people.
That is cool. Yeah, I love the idea of thinking about something that's greater than yourself. Sometimes I get stuck too much in the minutia of my own life. And I know it's important because it is my own life to me.
Yeah.
But to get so stuck to it sometimes is I think it's natural. I'm not looking down on myself, but to try and have more of this mindset. I've had more of this mindset at times.
Yeah.
Sometimes I guess it feels a little tougher than others.
I think you mentioned, we were talking earlier about having or a way that you thought about contributing. You mentioned to me like kind of a halfway house or something like that.
Yeah, I want to try to get a halfway house going, and we're working on it. We're starting there's a group, a men's group that we started.
Yeah.
That is every week has a meeting right now. It's just a Zoom meeting, you know. But just the roots of it,
Yeah.
Trying to look at that and figure that out.
Well, I think aligning that mission with whatever you're doing, whether it's your shows or whatever it is, like there's something like tangible to like talk about. This is what we're doing. This is our mission. This is what, zeroing in on what that is, and then aligning that with what you're doing. And then that naturally, like honestly, stepping off into the dark on stuff like that, like the road rises right up to your feet underneath you when you start doing it. And I've seen the craziest, like, I will say miracle, but the craziest things happen that aren't a coincidence when you start aligning yourself with what you feel like you can contribute to and make a difference in. Then those things starts manifesting, like those things start happening. And so just talking about it, like you were telling me about it, and like taking action on it and aligning it with what you're already doing, and then having that purpose, like everything starts to fall, and literally stuff falls out of the sky on you, and you're just like, damn. Like that's another affirmation that just keep going with it. Like as we're talking about it right now, is one of those affirmations. It's like, but getting that place, like, and we still got to raise the money for the second half of building it all. You know what I mean? To like finish the place out. We have all the basics of what we need, but the biggest building in the whole place is what we're raising for right now. And so finding people that realize, and we're past the impossible point, because used to be I was like riding around a field, like, this is where this building's going to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? So but now it's there, and they can see the quality, and they can see the impact of what we're doing. So trying to find the people that have something to give, that want to contribute in some way of doing it.
Right. To say, hey, look, I see what you've done halfway here. Let me help, because I have the financial means, let me help you contribute towards the other half.
And it's not about me. I don't care. It's nothing about that's about me. It's about the difference that we can make there doing it. And if some people are looking for something to align themselves with it, can make a real impact. Like we have one of those things, and there's other things out there, but finding something that you're passionate about, that you want to give back, there's nothing that makes you happier than, like, I knew there'd be a day when I could stand out. It's pretty close to my house, where I could stand outside and hear kids like singing and laughing through the woods, and then like get to hear that now and to feel it or whatever. It's just like,
that's music.
It lets me know that I'm on the path of where I should be doing, and that my life has purpose. Like, it's not just raising my kids and trying to move people with music, but it's like I'm using that as a tool to make a difference.
Yeah. Amen, dude. Gosh, man. I want to come work at that summer camp, I feel like, sometime.
You should.
Do I have to have a jurisdiction or whatever? Like a they're
gonna make sure you're not on some government lists and things like that. For sure.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm thinking, I gotta think about what it's called before I ask about it. Dude, Zac Brown, I'm excited to get to spend time with you, man. I know that we've gotten to talk before, and I'm a big fan, dude. And just thank you for all the wonderful music that you continue to make. And yeah, just nice to have some inspirational thoughts and thinking about things that are bigger than myself, finding that purpose, because sometimes there's just this, you're like, then what am I doing? It's funny, I was laying in bed the other night and I was like, what am I doing this for? And I know that sounds crazy. Maybe I'm not trying to sound like woe is me or anything.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes the first time a question comes into your head from God or from like the light of the world, it comes in confusingly,
Yeah.
Instead of maybe maybe I'll lay down tonight and be like, well, what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
But interesting, man. Grateful to have spent time with you today, dude.
You too, brother. You bring a lot of joy to people, man. I know so many people that you are just a light for, and people just making people laugh and making them feel good. To just being yourself is. We're all huge fans of yours and what you do, man. I'm stoked to get to talk to you and get to visit and hang out more. So thank you.
Thank you, Zac Brown. Dude, I still remember one of my favorite moments, and I might just add this in somewhere, but you and me were in a car with Kid Rock, remember? Mm-hmm. And the radio was up. And he goes, hey, can you guys turn the volume down so we can talk about me? And you know what? It really
we were crammed in the car. There was it was like a clown car. There was like 8 of us in the back of this Suburban.
He's like, hey, can you turn the radio down so we can talk about me? It was hilarious, dude. And you had to laugh. It's just so perfect, man. One of a kind. And so are you. Zac Brown, thank you so much for my nice gift, man. And we look forward to coming to see you at the Sphere.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now I'm just floating on the breeze, and I feel I'm falling like these leaves. I must be cornerstone. Oh, but when I reach that ground, I'll share this peace of mind I found. I